Get my man correct. Let's go, Mars. We ready.
The NBA champions have officially been crowned. The 2025 NBA champions are the Oklahoma City Thunder, fellas. It's been a long season. It's been a long playoffs, and it was a long NBA finals. It went the distance, 7 games, but OKC came out victorious, and they are the NBA champions. How are we feeling about the Oklahoma City Thunder? And quite frankly, their rise from the bottoms of the NBA to the top of the NBA.
Ron, if I told you just 2 years ago, Oklahoma City, they're going to have arguably the best player in the league. They're going to win the NBA championship. They're going to be a team of the ages. Would you have bought that just 2 years ago?
Nah.
I wouldn't have bought it neither, but this is where we are. And I know that there's a lot of people who want to immediately talk about Tyrese Haliburton getting injured, which was unfortunate. And I know that that's part of the game, and it could have been a different outcome. But what I don't want to focus on is I don't want to focus on Tyrese Haliburton getting injured, even though he was on a heater. I don't want to focus on him getting injured more. Than I want to focus on Oklahoma City being the best team in the NBA wire to wire. They were the best team in the NBA, overcame all the things that they overcame. Chet missed 2/3 of the season. This is your best rim protector and your best interior defender. Missed 2/3 of the season. Alex Caruso missed almost 30 games. Isaiah Hartenstein had a broken hand. He missed 25 games. That's a quarter of the season, and this team still managed to put together 68 wins. Still 68 wins in a nightmare of a Western Conference, and then get to the playoffs. In the process of getting to the playoffs, dealing with that Denver Nuggets team, who, for all intents and purposes, I mean, they gave them everything that they could handle, and to mop this Minnesota team out of the playoffs, and then be in a dogfight with this Indiana team. I mean, this team was the best team in the league the entire season long. And SGA did something that only Michael Jordan can say, right? SGA did something that only Michael Jordan can say and Shaq can say over the last 25 years, led the league in scoring, was the league MVP, won the NBA championship, won the finals MVP. Them the only two dudes who can say that they did that. That's it. Can nobody else say that? So recently, can nobody else can say that. So I don't want to focus a lot on Tyrese Haliburton. That's not to say that I'm not empathetic of what happened to him, Ron, because, again, I think that we could have had a different game had he played, but I don't want to focus on that more than I want to focus on how good this Oklahoma City team is, man, how good they were, and they got back to who they are yesterday. They got back to turning the basketball over. They got back to playing fast. They got back to doing all of that stuff that made them Oklahoma City, and they're a worthy champion. 100% they are.
You know, Chill, my mind was elsewhere, and it's been in a lot of other places regarding this whole NBA championship. Sure. And I'm assuming we'll get to that other stuff. But something that you said really just resonated with me. And it's not necessarily the playoff run, but it is the fact that OKC has been the best team since the initial tip-off, October 25th.
Wire to wire, Ron.
They have been the best team. They didn't go on. You know, it wasn't any moment of the year where I think any of us were like, OKC isn't a top 2, top 3, or top 1 team. Like literally from the beginning all the way to the end. So I got to tip my hat to them.
Absolutely.
As much as I may feel a certain type of way about them winning this championship, as much as I may want to hate on any individuals on that team, the one thing I can't deny, and I don't think anybody else out there can deny, is literally from the start to the finish, OKC dominated. So we got to give them their credit for that. But Morris, how are you feeling about the Thunder now? They finally did it.
The same way I felt about them 2 weeks ago. I think it's nice that a dominant regular season gets compounded with a championship. I always think that's cool. Top 2 net rating of all time, then capping that off with a championship. Dispelling, I guess, the narrative that they couldn't win because they were too young. Shea being someone who won a championship and an MVP in the same year. That's the first time since 2015. I think that happened. So that was cool. Seeing the growth of guys during the playoffs, seeing Chet have a really good game 7 after struggling for most of the series offensively. Seeing JDUB, how he grew throughout the playoffs. And then seeing a team that was trash 3 years ago. tanking, building with picks, all of that stuff. And then 3 years later, they're in the championship, and it's a small market team. Gives a lot of the league hope that if you just stick with the process, trust the process, I guess, good things can happen. I think Indiana just deserve more credit for not only getting it to a game 7, but at halftime they were up 1. Like, they were in position even without their best player, second best player, whatever, to win a championship. They were 24 minutes away from doing so. And maybe if Haliburton doesn't get hurt, maybe they do. So I think they showed that they were a legitimate finals team. They were a legitimate contender. They weren't just there because they were lucky. They were just that good. And although I think OKC were an all-time great team or close to it, Indiana pushed them to the brink. And I think they deserve a lot of credit for that. Obviously, everything that transpired was unfortunate, but Indiana were a legitimate team that OKC had to overcome. And I would argue they gave them their toughest challenge. And I think that was great. I think this was a great season. I think that was a great series. But I don't know if I learned anything from OKC. Well, maybe my beliefs were confirmed, but I don't know if I learned anything new personally.
With JDUB playing better, with SGA, it's kind of expected that you're that level of player. To Swiper's point yesterday, I mean, you are that level of player. We expect you to play at a certain level come playoff time. I did learn that Indiana was a lot better than what I thought they were going to be. I did learn that. Swiper, I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
I wasn't saying anything.
Yeah,
I mean, congratulations, OKC. I mean, I think a few of us picked them in the offseason to win the championship. So they deserve a lot of, I mean, obviously, congratulations are in order for Sam Presti. He's been the longest tenured Thunder outside of ownership over the last 15 years. And so he's worked in different iterations in order to get this done. And, you know, I think that Sam Presti building one of the most elite teams that I've seen defensively, you know, from the bottom of the roster, bottom and rotation players to Andrew Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, to Kenrich Williams, to Jalen Williams, you know, obviously AJ Mitchell. He's done a great job of cultivating talent. And then if you add Alex Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein, Lou Dort, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, JDUB, Chet Holmgren, they've just done an exceptional job of finding and identifying, which is one of the hardest jobs to do working in the NBA or working in any sport, is finding and identifying talent and then cultivating talent. I know the strength, and actually, you just reminded me, I know the strength and performance coach for OKC. He has been there for a long time. He's a very, 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 very top of the line performance coach of what he does. And so he obviously deserves this a lot, because, you know, a lot of these people, a lot of times when you win championships, these people have been moving their families around for years, you know, and they go through a lot, you know, when you're just on the day-to-day grind. And to Chill and Mars referencing the 3 years ago, even they were going through a little bit of a period of turmoil where they were just trying to figure out what the direction was going to be. And so I want to truly, really, truly credit the performance and development staff for helping SGA to get where he got. I mean, you don't get all-time great seasons or players by accident. You have to. It
doesn't just happen, Swiper. Like, you don't just wake up one day and you're the league MVP and you lead the league in scoring. Like, oh shit! Like, where does this come from? Wait a minute, man.
If you just look at the last 3 years, he was not an all-star, and then he grows into a 3 straight years of first-team All-NBA after not making an all-star game prior to that. So just true development, I think, and I think he deserves credit.
That's so exceptional.
Come on, man, Ron. That don't just happen.
Exceptional.
And if I can think of players, the only players that I know have done that are Luka. I believe Luka was first-team All-NBA his first season. I think Jokic, 18-19, first-team All-NBA his first season, and SGA, first-team All-NBA his first season. Giannis, I think, might have gotten it. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Mars or Chill, I don't know if y'all can remember that. I don't know if he got it in 16-17 or not, first team. But I think that speaks to the sleeping giant that we all kind of.
Giannis has been a 9-time All-Pro. He made first-team All-Pro 7 times.
Yeah,
so 7 years ago was his first team All-Pro.
So I think some of this is you find these kind of players, and then you have to build the organization around them. And one of the things about building the organization around them is you have to find players that fit their personality.
Yeah.
And SGA, the entire Thunder's organization fits his personality. If you haven't obviously paid attention to SGA is a very mature, very centered person. He is somebody who doesn't he does do like not just nonsense. He's a very straight to the point person. He obviously cultivates a very, I think, healthy culture with his team.
That matters too, Swiper.
Yeah,
being a grown up. That does.
I think it all matters. Yeah, you have 100%. To be an adult in the room.
That matters.
SGA, one of the biggest credits to him, and I think maybe the most impressive thing about SGA, scrap all the numbers and MVPs and all that stuff. When he was at the end of the game and it was it's his time, you've MVP, scoring champ, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, all that. When he handed the trophy to JDUB, I think, and said that he belongs, he owns just as much of this Finals MVP as I do. I do think that speaks a lot to character and somebody not believing they're above the mission, somebody not believing they're above the team. And I think that is something that when you're going through athletics, you always want to try to be. And you, as a coach, you want players like that on your roster, that because at the end of the day, when everything falls through, they're going to be a rock no matter the situation. And I think SGA deserves real credit for the leader that he has grown into and the adult that he's been. For me, that's it. He's 26 years old. And I think he has a very long, bright, great future ahead of him. And I think this is possibly the first of a few championships to come. But I think when you have a character guy like that, that's like a grade A 10 for 10. I mean, there's literally nothing better you can ask for, as an organization.
Ron, I know I'm laughing. I don't know if you know this, Ron, but Oklahoma City got 4 wins next year. I just want to put that on your mind.
Well, I got this right on the screen, actually. I'm glad you said that, Chill. Let me go ahead and share this. The future is now. But not only is the future now, the future is bright as hell for OKC. Let me zoom in on this so y'all can really get a good glimpse of this. Not only are they the youngest team in the league, but how Chill said, I don't think it looks like they got 3 1s on here.
And a pick swap.
For next year?
Yes.
Well,
That's from the Clippers trade. Which, by the way, they got Jalen Williams out of that too, by the way.
This says the pick swap is 2027, but it might be 2026. I don't know. But you could just look at this right here and just see how well positioned the Thunder are. They got the 15th pick in this draft, courtesy of the Heat. The 24th pick in this draft, courtesy of the Clippers. Next year, they have a top 4 protected pick from the Sixers. They have a top 8 protected pick from the Jazz. They have a first-round pick of their own. They have a pick swap in 2027 or 2026 from the Clippers. They have a top 4 protected pick from the Nuggets in 2027 as well. They have a 2028 pick swap or their own pick from the Dallas Mavericks. Then they have their own first-round pick in 2029. They have their own first-round pick in 2030, and they have their own first-round pick in 2031. That's 11 picks over the next 5 years.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Some of this is, we'll see how they use those. Could obviously, having talent and having young players is cool, but obviously they have to be players that can play. So, but I think the fun thing about the OKC Thunder is they could trade let's just X out this year. Can you put the graph back up? My bad, Ron. I was just going to say that they could legitimately trade. Like if they wanted to make a swing trade, Ron, for like a player that's like a higher tier player, they could do so without trading any of their own draft picks. And which means they would never run into the Stephen rule. It's like that's also where they are as well. They could literally make a swing trade and still not run into any of the NBA penalties because you can't trade back-to-back years in your first round picks. Mm-hmm. So again, well positioned to do whatever they want to do in the near future.
Now, what does this mean moving forward with Indiana? Because you're going to lose Haliburton next year, right? I'm sorry, Ron, but we have to talk about this, unfortunately. And I know that this is a big deal, but we got to talk about this. What does this mean moving forward for Indiana? Okay, so you got Miles Turner coming off the books. Not only do you have Miles Turner coming off the books.
Miles Turner coming off the team.
Yeah, you got Miles Turner coming off the books. You got Tyrese Haliburton. You're going to lose him for all the next season, right? You still got Mathurin on his rook deal. I think Neesmith is under contract. You got TJ McConnell under contract. Obi Toppin just signed an extension. I'm not interested in tearing things down. However, Ron, what you guys did what? Not you guys, because I think you're a Hali guy more than you're an Indiana guy. But what they did 2 years ago.
That yet.
Yeah, I think you're more of a Hali guy than an Indiana guy.
Hmm.
But with that being said, what they did when they traded for Siakam, they pushed all their chips to the front of the table. And this is right now. I mean, he's the same age as Jimmy Butler when Jimmy Butler went to Miami, right? So with that being said, do they have the same luxury as the Boston Celtics who have a gap year? Do the Indiana Pacers have the same luxury that the Boston Celtics do where this could be a gap year? Now, don't get me wrong, Mars. I do understand that the Eastern Conference is wide open. I do understand that part. But losing Tyrese Haliburton for the entire season next year, considering how much better Orlando's going to be next year, Cleveland's going to be back in the mix. The Knicks are going to be better, right? Philly with Joel Embiid and Paul George and this kid McCain and Maxey, they're going to be back in the mix. My question, I think the question I'm asking is what's the plan moving forward in Indiana without Tyrese Haliburton? Do they have the luxury of having a gap year with trying to win an NBA championship?
Chill, you gotta, this is me talking to the chat now.
Sure.
All the young fellas and ladies in the chat, you gotta learn to find a silver lining in the midst of struggles and in the midst of turmoil and when things just go to shit. The silver lining for the Indiana Pacers is Haliburton's still young. Yes, he just tore his Achilles, but he's still young. It's a good thing, right? Yep. He comes back, he'll still be what, 26, 25? He'll still be a young guy. But the beautiful part about what they got going on is, first off, they got a deep-ass team, and they just made it to the finals. You still got to celebrate your wins amongst your losses. You made it to the finals as a young team. You overcame all these expectations. Tyrese Haliburton's gone next year, but you still have your main core under contract. You still got to re-sign Miles Turner. Okay, cool.
He should be re-signed.
I agree.
Ox, what are we doing moving forward with him, though? Okay, so
what do you mean? What are we doing?
So Ox, if we don't resign him, what are we doing then? We're just going to let him walk out the front door after 10 years. That's it. Goodbye.
See you.
But he was great leading into the series, though. Like he had a bad finals. But I'm saying like that, and I know, but Ox, I can get with Ox because I know Ox well at this point. And I know if you don't get the job done when it matters most, that's a big deal to Ox. So
doesn't mean that we need to break up though.
No, I agree, but I'm saying he had maybe his best 82 he's had, and then he had 3 really good rounds that he played in the playoffs leading into this, and then he had a couple good moments in the series too. Like I think Chet for the most part Ox underperformed and underwhelmed, like. But maybe because he's young, so like you feel like he can develop more, which makes sense, by the way.
Well, Swiper, I'm saying like Miles Turner has never been a great player. That's not saying he's never been serviceable. You know what I'm saying? I think Miles Turner has had some pretty good years in the past, right? But when Chet had bad games, Chet came through for his squad in the second half or in the fourth quarter where what game was it where Chet finished the game? I mean, absolutely eating the glass away, like making sure he was getting all the offensive rebounds, protecting the rim. So that's my thing. Chet can have a bad game and still do things to help his team. Chet can still wake up in the second half. Miles Turner did nothing this whole series. So to me, it's kind of like you're not giving us nothing. They're not going to be nothing next year without Tyrese anyway. So it's kind of like, y'all, go ahead, bro. Go ahead, do your thing. We'll regroup. Like this season needs to be about regrouping. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you, Ox. Like
I don't see how Miles Turner can be a part of your future.
See, I disagree with that. And here's the thing: like as bad as Miles was, he still fits in with this group. He still does things that help Tyrese Haliburton. He does things that help Pascal Siakam. He does things that just help the whole nucleus of the group.
Like what, Ron? Not help play no help side defense? Like not rebound? Like pick and pop and miss every 3 you shoot? Like that?
What, you talking about just in the series?
That's it. That's all he's talking about because he didn't do that against the Knicks.
Okay,
he didn't do that
against
the
Knicks. What did he do against the Knicks?
I think he balled. Well, he balled versus the Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I'm just asking. I'm curious. I want to know if this is just a major oversight by me, and he just killed. And he killed the Miles Turner killed the Bucks. Did he kill the?
So he averaged in this playoffs. He was at he was at 14, 5 and 2 blocks, and you know, obviously the shot blocking numbers has kind of always been his thing. One of the best shot blockers in the league. Versus the Bucks.
That's what I expect.
Yeah, versus the Bucks, he was at 17, 5, and 2 blocks, and he shot 51, 38, 83 in that series. And then
one of the best 3-point shooters over the playoffs. Now, you could minimalize it to the finals and say over these 7 games, Miles was sorry and he didn't shoot well.
And then Ox in the games against Cleveland, he was at 16, 7, and 3 blocks on 51, 56, 78 splits. So he destroyed the Cavs. And then versus the Knicks, he was at 13, 3, and 2 blocks again on 56, 32, 71. So his shooting percentages dropped. Maybe
so
as
13 and 3 is the rebounding.
You said what?
3 is rebounding.
3 rebounds in that series. But remember, they were gang rebounding too in that series, though. To be fair.
So what I'm saying, Swipe, is if you want a team, right? If you want a team, and I'm sure now the Pacers think that they're one of those teams. They go to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years straight, right?
Yeah.
They go to the finals this year. So now the Pacers look at themselves as we're one of those squads now, right? So I can't have a big man who can't get down with, you know what I'm saying? If you can't get down with the other bigs at this level, we can't do nothing with you. That's what I'm saying. Like,
well, what's your other option?
I don't want to sit here and bash Miles Turner. I just want to say that they need to upgrade and just leave it at that.
Yeah, but what's the upgrade? Because I see this similar as to the New York Knicks. Okay, you fire Tom Thibodeau, then what? You gonna hit a bunch of teams up trying to poach their center? Hey, can you trade me Bam? Hey, can you trade me this person? Hey, can you trade me this person?
Yeah, so, I don't know. Can they sign and trade or something or whatever?
I'm wondering if we do the same. I'm wondering if we do the same thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, same thing of what?
Kristaps might be available though.
I'm saying is Kristaps available? I don't know. Is there another big man that can rebound? No. Because Miles Turner. I just want to know. Would I feel the same way of what you?
I'm just wondering if we're using the same logic. If the Sacramento Kings went through the playoffs and he ran up against Anthony Davis and then he ran up against Joker and he was on the glass, like Miles Turner protects the rim, but he couldn't score against them dudes. Are we getting, and they end up losing in 7 games? Are we moving up to Sabonis because he can't score?
Well, what happened against the Warriors? When he got out rebounded, he still had 16 boards. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, he still getting on the glass.
But Miles Turner still protects the rim, sure. Miles Turner 100%.
No, he doesn't.
Protects the rim.
Yeah,
I don't see why you keep saying that. Chill. I'm watching the game with you, and he's looking. He's out there looking like Jokic at the rim. Free eats.
It's not free eats. I mean, he might not be Olajuwon at the rim, sure, but he's their best option. I'm not saying that part.
No, definitely not Olajuwon. But we can keep any rim protector out of this conversation. I'm looking at him. He can't even get when he's on this side of on the basket, and somebody gets beat on that side. While they're laying up the ball, he's just now doing this, like now stepping over. Like, why are you moving so slow?
So then which also we talked about that too. I'm interested to hear. It's going to be in a couple of days. I'm almost certain of it. I don't know for sure, but I'm almost certain of it. That we're going to hear that something's wrong with him and he needs surgery.
Now, chill. If that's the case, if he got hurt against the Knicks or something and nobody knew, then I think that's the case. I'll be like, all right, Miles, my bad. Your knee was hurt. One of your ankles, you know what I'm saying? You got a fracture in your foot or something. I could be like, all right, bro, get healthy. You know what I'm saying? But if besides injury, no injury, there's no excuse for the finals that Miles Turner had.
I just don't want there to be a knee-jerk reaction. Maybe this Indiana team, because a lot of times we get wrapped up in teams getting to a certain space and going, all right, we got to jump the gun. Maybe this team is like, this is it. Like they was in game 7 of the NBA championship. That's where they were. They got the game 7 of the NBA championship against a team of the ages, right? A team that's the best defensive team in the league. They had the league MVP, and they took them to game 7. Now, their point guard got hurt, sure, but even if he doesn't get hurt and they end up losing, does that mean that this Indiana team, okay, now we got to upgrade at the 5 spot? Or maybe this team is just they're not one of those teams that's going to ever win the NBA championship.
Well, that wasn't the case, Chill, because they could have won. They could have and should have won this one. You know what I'm saying?
This NBA championship. You think they should have beat India?
You talking about that with Hali?
If I felt like they had no action, if I felt that they were just gonna, if I felt like how you felt at the beginning and thought that OKC would dismantle this squad, and I wouldn't even say nothing. But I don't feel that way. I feel like Indiana had a shot right there. Even with Tyrese going out, to Mars's point, they was up 1 at halftime. when TJ came in the third quarter and was absolutely dismantling that defense, they brought it back down to like 4. Rick Carlisle doesn't put Pascal Siakam back in the game. I don't know why. I'm not sure, but he knows he got this, coach. You know,
I thought he was hurt, Ox. I thought he wasn't even over there. I was like, where is he at? Why is he not
right? And he came back on the fourth. So regardless of the score at the end, they had an opportunity to win this game. So the fact that they took him to 7 lets me know like y'all had action. Maybe Miles. Maybe if we did have Kristaps Porzingis instead of Miles Turner, this could have been a lot.
Kristaps can't rebound either.
I'm just saying somebody I think will help protect the rim. He rebound better than Miles Turner. All right.
Yes, he does.
I mean, Miles Turner's he's a good rim protector though. Like, cause remember he had
the rim protecting the rim. That's like when y'all say Jokic is a good rim protector. He has rim deterrence. So obviously he don't.
For me, I don't even know why they're being. I understand. Like for me, that's where the exaggeration is coming. I think Miles did protect the rim in this series. I just think the issue is really Ox. My biggest criticism of Miles was he got so lost in I think the moment and like in his mechanics. His shot mechanics went to the trash. The open shots, I mean, really outside of the mid range, the open 3-pointers that he had, he just wasn't doing anything. He wasn't aggressive. I think Chet and Hart, he's not the kind of interior scorer that you can just trust to go at like bigs consistently. I think mobility wise, Miles is a better athlete, than a lot of centers. But the issue is his gap positioning, Rocks, for me was bad. Like as the series went on, his gap positioning was bad. Every time they would run that little hedge with 6 or 7, game 6 or 7, or even 5, he would just be too wide. Like, and then he was getting beaten inside by SGA, or then he would try to overcompensate. He would be too tight, and then SGA's running the hump. But then every time SGA runs the hump or beats the gap, then he's passing the ball all over the place, or he's getting to the rim, getting fouled, or getting a layup. And outside of that, they're playing really good defense on SGA. We haven't even had a chance to talk about this. To your point, they had action. SGA was 3 of 15 in the second half yesterday. They had a chance. Like if Tyrese Haliburton would have been there, I do think we had an opportunity to see something special,
especially the way he was shooting
in the second half.
The way he was shooting
and so I think Miles Turner needed Tyrese Haliburton out there to help him in a system. But to your point,
beat their ass. And everybody in Oklahoma City know it too. Y'all had an ass whooping coming straight up.
I think the whole world knows it.
It would have been. I think it would have been.
My boy came out ready. Y'all seen that?
I will say the point that changed the game, Ox, to your point, there's already no Hali. And then there's no Pascal and no Nembhard on the floor. So TJ McConnell had Tony Bradley out there with him. So they started trapping TJ, and Tony doesn't know where to go. So Tony, instead of flanking high so he could see you because he's 5'10", he flanked low. And now, like, there's 2 6'5+ people in TJ's face. So he just throws the ball up like, okay, like my release valve is right there. And then Tony Bradley just sitting here messing everything up. The defense was horrible. The offense was horrible. The picks were horrible.
TJ would penetrate the defense, and dudes would just stand there like this. Like they not in the basketball game. like y'all want TJ to win 1-on-5? Like it's just crazy. But
it became that. It became him and Benny. In the second half, it was him and Benny. I don't think it was Pascal's fault for fourth quarter yesterday. I just think he sat for so long, and the game was already out of whack. It was already a 16 point game or whatever.
Can't give him that. Pascal got it. Pascal got a ball.
But he was playing well in the first half though.
I'm only saying that because you know what I'm saying. It's game 7. You know what I mean? I can't give anybody no leeway. I can't give you no extra. I can't give you no bail, nothing in the game 7. That doesn't mean I think that you're a terrible basketball player or you're just sorry, but I can't give you no cushion for not showing up in game 7. Like your life is on the line. You know what I'm saying? So Pascal Siakam, you sat the third quarter. Play ball now. Like I don't believe. Oh, you're out of rhythm. This is game 7. There is no rhythm or out of rhythm. Play basketball. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be in rhythm all the time since you became a professional basketball player. You know what I'm saying?
It's like a choir though, like or orchestra. When you lose your conductor, you can't be in rhythm like that. And I mean, that's just how it is. Like when the sheep or the wolves lose the leader of the flock or the pack, You can't move in synchrony. You like everybody was out of sync, and you just seen it. Even your man TJ McConnell. Everybody, from the next domino to the last domino, everybody was at a place the minute Tyrese Haliburton went down.
I didn't see that, Ron. That's not what I saw. I saw a team pull together and keep fighting after they brother.
Yeah, they fought out of desperation, but
that's all that was, Ron.
They ran out of gas in that third quarter.
That's playing
good basketball.
But
about
that basketball good. You want to sit up here and hype TJ McConnell?
It's not hype. TJ McConnell hyped himself.
Yeah. Them 7 turnovers. If that was Haliburton, you be up here.
It wasn't Haliburton. Haliburton was in the back watching TJ carry.
TJ was on the court coughing the rock up
and brought his team back in the game. Brought his team back in the game.
No, they lost the game with TJ.
So they weren't. So you see, that's what I'm saying. Y'all over there just lying about what's happening.
No, he did. He 100% that did happen, Ox. We're not going to argue that point.
You brought him back in the game and called the game up.
You can be upset about it and do that.
You brought him back in the game and called the game up.
That did happen.
Turnover after turnover after turnover.
He did do that.
Turnover after turnover.
That 100% happened.
You can be mad as you want to be. It don't matter. Be as mad as you want to be.
Turnover after turnover. That fool had a 3-7. He had a 3-7. He had a 3-7 assist to turnover ratio.
He could have 15 turnovers.
Garbage.
He could have 15 turnovers.
15.
And in the third quarter, he still brought his team back.
He might as well have 15.
I don't care. I know you're sad and all that shit because what happened with Tyrese.
Sad ain't got nothing to do with it.
Because you sound like it sounds ignorant.
Talking about the game.
When you get up here and you start being a crybaby because you can't change what happened. I don't care if he could have had.
Because I can't change what happened.
He could have had.
Can't nobody change what happened. What happened. And he had 7 turnovers. Yeah,
he could have 15 turnovers.
Yeah, he went on an 8-0 scoring run, and that was nice.
What I'm saying is you can say what you want. He could have had 15. He had 7 or 8, and he still brought the team back because I'm saying.
And then he brought him back, and then they went back down. Courtesy of TJ.
Why and why was that? Because nobody else was trying to do nothing. Pascal Siakam, Rick Carlisle kept Pascal Siakam out the game. You know what I'm saying? And just like into Swiper's point, Tony Bradley and everybody else was just standing there. TJ cuts it, gets to the rim, and they just standing there.
That may be
But that goes back to Ron's point. The conductor is gone. Like I know when to play when the conductor is out there conducting the show. I know what to do. Now the conductor's not here. I got a different conductor.
When you got third string, whatever instrument over there, and Pascal sitting on the bench watching, like, okay, our conductor's gone, so why am I not in the game? You know what I'm saying? Why that?
The only point I'm making is it's easy for everybody to get down when the lead dog there. It's easy for TJ McConnell to be the backup point guard when the starting point guard's there. It's easy to come in and play 15 to 20 minutes and back him up. When he's not there, and now your role got to go up, now we see it looks a little different. Now we see Obi Toppin all of a sudden don't look like the Obi Toppin that we've been seeing all playoffs. All of a sudden, he looked like New York Knicks Obi Toppin. Nesmith, the best shooter in the playoffs before Game 7 when Tyrese Haliburton goes down. And then what does he do?
What was Nesmith doing this series when Tyrese was on the court?
Shooting the shit out the rock. That's
why we talking about. I don't want to talk about Nesmith. He fouled out of 3
I want to talk about Nesmith. He had 3 points.
He fouled out of 3 of the 7 games, and one of the games he had 5 fouls. He was awful. He was undisciplined on defense. Not just undisciplined on defense. Bad fouls. A lot of the stuff. Nesmith
wasn't playing that good at all this whole series anyway. Ron wanted to make it seem like Tyrese
this was his lowest scoring output in the whole playoffs.
Okay, you say that, but what else was he? What was he doing?
Why did he only have 3 points?
What did he do in these other games, Ron?
Why did he only have 3 points tonight? He averaged 9. He averaged 9 points over the series. And if I took
Tyrese,
what?
Nesmith wasn't getting off this series.
So if he averages 9 points over the course of the series,
9 points.
Why did he only have 3 points yesterday? And if I was to take that 3, that 9 would probably go up to 11 or 12. Why did he only have 3 points yesterday?
But we
Why
can't
did he only
discount
shoot 5
Tyrese.
shots?
We can't do that, Ron. We can't
He had
discount.
3 points because Tyrese got hurt. All right.
To your point, Ron, we can't discount
That's
Tyrese
exactly
Haliburton
what I'm
not being
making.
on the floor. We can't.
Why
because
does
Tyrese
Obi
Haliburton-
Toppin not score?
Yeah, he's responsible for it. They ain't playing as fast when Tyrese Haliburton ain't on the floor. They not, the distributor ain't on the floor. Tyrese Haliburton is getting guys like Obi Toppin more involved in transition, more involved in the secondary break. He getting Aaron Nesmith more involved in the half court. So we're not going to sit here and act like with Tyrese Haliburton off the floor, that doesn't affect their offense individually. We're not going to act like that, Ox, because that does happen.
Oh, wow.
That does.
Well,
However,
by the way, in the playoffs, it looks like Aaron Nesmith is shooting 50% from three with Hali and 30% without Hali.
wow, that we're not going to act like that doesn't matter.
But I guess the tit for tat thing, Chill, just to intercede here, I don't actually think it was really TJ's fault for what happened yesterday. I think when you go to a lineup that has Tony Bradley and a bunch of other play finishers next to TJ McConnell, and you're playing versus a defense with Caruso at that. Remember, Caruso, Dub, Wallace never on the floor because SGA had gone off at this point. Yep. All they were doing was attacking like the ball handler as much as possible and forcing turnovers. So I think some of this is if you don't have Nembhard or Pascal or Hali in the game, then you have no other play creators on the floor. Then yeah, you're going to get cooked. But that's what OKC does. Guards don't typically just work OKC unless they have like a unit around them. And I think that to me, it's a function of the deficit of the lineups Carlisle went to and the deficit of no Hali. I think that's more so indicative of why TJ had so many turnovers. TJ was just trying to make something shake. So he was just trying to put it on the line for his team. And anything, and actually I'm thinking about this a little differently. TJ had 7 turnovers yesterday because he was emptying the clip. SJ was, what was he, 8 to 27 yesterday?
Yeah.
Something like that. He was emptying the clip because this is the best thing for me to do for my team right now. There was if they're doubling Pascal, we can't give him the ball, and then Nembhard's not in the game, then where are we going to be? Like, how are we getting to the basket? How are we scoring here? Yep. That's so that when he went on this little scoring run in the third quarter, OKC is perfectly fine with that because we don't believe that like he's going to do this for the whole half, and then on the other end going to get enough stops to make up for the deficit that you have all the way around. So
he's not going to give you 40. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know OKC like
we expecting him to do that. We in trouble. And
he killed like he might have been killing us in that run, but it's like he's not going to finish the game with 45 points. We know that. So that's why I'm saying like usually even throughout the series, and that's why I said what I said about TJ before. He's not going to just do it by himself. You need Tyrese Haliburton. And I've said that multiple times. So I never said replace Tyrese with.
You wanted him to play with him. You did. I said
that. I said that every time I say this, I make sure to mention. I'm not saying take Tyrese off the floor. I'm saying they play better together. Typically throughout the season, when TJ's in the game, he penetrates and he has somebody to kick it to. These dudes are just standing there watching. I don't know if they thought TJ could carry him to the promised land with his scoring ability and that's it, but that's not very realistic. You know what I mean? I guess the best team.
I also think too, Ox, when you're on the floor against a defense like Oklahoma City's defense, which I thought was really good yesterday. I thought that they were really good. I think they got back to what they were doing. A lot of times, gaps, they close fast. And when TJ got it going, okay, this is what we're going to ride with because we can't get anything going. There are no gap. Pascal Siakam, whenever he tried to get to the rim, Chet was right there to shut the door on that. Whenever if Chet wasn't there to shut the door on that, somebody else was there to slow him down. So once you get somebody like TJ McConnell going, we're going to ride this wave however we're getting it. If he's getting downhill, let him get downhill. Let him get to the rim. Now, that's at the expense of Tony Bradley and Nesmith and guys like that standing around watching. But there's one guy who wasn't standing around watching yesterday, and that was Benny the Bucket. Benny came to play yesterday.
22 and 13.
100%. Benny was not standing around watching. Benny was aggressive. Benny did his best to get downhill. Benny was on the glass trying to get second chance opportunities for Indiana. It's just that Oklahoma City defense got back to what they were, which is a scrambling, shoot the gaps, great.
Get back to what they were.
They 100% got back to what they were.
I think that's a lot. I think that's more what happened is no Hali changed up what they could do, what they were allowed to do.
And with Hali not being on the floor, they still got back to what they were.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Well, they're yeah. I mean, but that's why I'm like I'm kind of in between realities. I think if Hali was there, we were in for like
a dogfight. 100%.
Yeah, it was going to be like a minute left, Chill, and it's like we don't know what's happening here.
Got a 2-possession game.
Like I said, I also think it matters. Like again, the context of OKC was the better team all year. They won, But like I said, they weren't playing well in the second half. Like, I think they
didn't play well the whole game.
Well, I think SGA was there in the substance in the first half. He was like taking care of business in the first half. I think he had 21 and 9 in the first 3 quarters. But like I said, in the second half, SGA had 13 points on 3 of 15 and 5 assists. Like, they really just started, like, they didn't have a lot to go to. So I think for them, if they would have had Hali, I do think the offense would have looked so much better. I think the connectivity would have been better. And I think they would have been able to be in a situation where they could have won in OKC. They just couldn't sustain those runs without having your best player on the floor. So I think some of this is just a matter of you don't have and I think to Marge's point, one thing he loved so much about Hali, when you have a play operator that turns the ball over as little as he does, that makes as many good decisions as he does on a possession-by-possession basis, and he throws 75 passes a game, like, not having that conductor changed everything. And I think that changed the outcome of who was the final champion. I'm not saying that definitively they would have won, but I think what we would have seen.
We'd look at a different game.
Right. And I think that's where we were headed. So I think more so, I don't really have any criticism, honestly, for TJ or anybody. I just think, like, they just did the best they could versus the team that, honestly, they had no business being on the floor. But the fact that they were up 1 going into the half, I think said more about their fight than anything else.
Which goes back to Ron's point about with them being up 1 point, with Haliburton being off the floor. I think that they masked a lot of their issues by just playing hard. That's all that was. It was just them diving on the floor for loose balls, getting on the backboard, getting second chance opportunities, getting out and running, stuff like that, making something out of nothing from broken plays that I saw. So a lot of the stuff that they wouldn't have to worry about doing that with with Haliburton on the floor, because I think the offense would have been a little bit more fluid. I think that he would have been able to find guys more in open space. And I think those guys would have had a lot more confidence with Haliburton on the floor, as opposed to now our conductors in here. We got to scramble and get whatever we can get. Ox, that third quarter, TJ looked like the guy who, okay, I'm going to get downhill. I'm going to be aggressive. And the rest of the guys just was standing there looking like, okay, he's fighting, instead of jumping in the fight with him, right? Instead of jumping in the fight with him, he just went in there swinging, and everybody was like, okay, well, I can't hit anybody, so I'm just going to watch him hit. I'm going to watch him swing on everybody, which I also thought was weird too, Ron, because I don't know if you noticed, but I don't remember I don't remember Mark Dagnall going to zone at all. And that would have been a perfect time to do that when TJ McConnell got going. Like, they didn't go to zone at all because he was kicking Casey Wallace's ass. He was kicking Casey Wallace's ass. Going right after him.
He was probably feeling like how you was feeling on Playback. Go ahead, TJ. Keep going, brother. Beat us. Yeah. You beat us by yourself. And like,
they just let that shit happen, Ron. They were trying to stop.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was. But my thing is, I don't.
They started blitzing TJ.
I don't want y'all to think that I'm getting at TJ because I dislike TJ. I thought he showed a lot of heart last night. Like, he showed all playoffs, and he was getting busy. The point that I'm trying to make is, without your lead dog, that messed up everything for everybody. I still think TJ gets busy with or without Haliburton last night. But
yes, I think so.
But I know Nembhard has a better game. I know Neesmith has a better game. I know Pascal has a better game. I know Obi Toppin has a better game. I know Miles Turner gets more looks, whether he makes them, who really knows. Benedict probably doesn't have as good a game, but he has the opportunity to. Ben Shepherd probably has a better game. Tony Bradley probably looks a little better. Everybody out there looks better with Tyrese Haliburton.
With their starting point guard?
In two Mars's point. The guy that you underrate.
I don't underrate him. And I know
the guy that you hate on all the time.
Really spurs from this take is spurring from the fact that day when Jordan and Mars and Ox came up here and told them they were all in agreement to bench Haliburton at one game. And now you're trying to tie that into the fact that see with the Haliburton, look how they look. I know what you're trying to do. I get what you're doing. I get it.
But I want the whole world to know this is what I'm trying to do. Tyrese Haliburton. They go from a championship. They go from NBA champions to a team that's
obviously. I mean, they're MVP.
That's clearly.
I agree.
I know it goes without saying, but also I have to say it just because of how much shit Tyrese Haliburton has gotten. Yes, his game might be awkward. It might be a little clunky, but you see just how valuable and just how good he is in moments like this. And even in that just first 7 minutes, what he came out and did. So, I'm pushing the narrative for my guy. But I got to push this narrative so you guys truly understand
Who's you
just
guys?
how great of everybody.
No. You ain't talking to me.
Everybody. I'm talking to you too.
You're
I'm talking to
obviously not
everybody.
talking to me.
I'm everybody that's listening, I'm talking to you.
So it could Ron, matter of fact, I actually made a decision to coming into the show today. One of the reasons, I made a decision that no matter what, I wasn't going to get sucked in to narrative stuff because I wanted to talk about the actual game. So Ron, I'm going to euro that. Real talk. It's good to see you, brother. The consensus up here has been, well, good job, OKC. You earned your title. You were the best team all year. But then the other part that we literally just moved to, like as of recent, and Ron actually did a good job not leading with this. We just went to not even the woulda, shoulda, coulda, just the simple. We all got robbed of a masterclass. We thought of a game yesterday with Tyrese Haliburton, and Ox had started talking about TJ McConnell leading in third. Ron then started pushing some narratives about TJ McConnell with 7 turnovers, and then I Chill then responded. We were talking about the coverages TJ was seeing and why those turnovers happened, and that was more of a symptom of an issue as opposed to a problem with TJ McConnell. And then it led into you guys just don't respect Hali. But that's actually not what the conversation's been at all.
I never said you guys.
But you do want us to
you were
recognize
intimating that we don't respect Hali enough.
You do want us to recognize how important Haliburton is, Ron. Let's not act like.
We understand.
Maybe he actually is the top 15 player that he doesn't get credit for.
See, this is the shit Swipe to talk about right here.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, if you feel that way, that's fine. But I'm saying, Ron, you're perfectly well within your right. And if I was you, if I was a player fan like you, and my player tore his Ron 5 minutes and 50 seconds left in the first quarter.
Halfway through the first quarter.
3 straight threes. And then Chill, the best one was to miss offensive rebound. Bro, I'm gonna put it right back up.
Oh, he was emptying it yesterday.
And then he was
feeling himself.
Hey, what do you say to SJ? And what do you say to SJ? Real talk.
BAN. That's what it said.
Well, BAN, bam. Look up, man.
Yeah, man. That's what's up, Tyrese.
we was here. We was all locked in. Real talk. My goggles turned up. I say, all right, bro. Like I'm locked in. I'm about to watch. I'm watching the TV. I'm locked. And then next thing you know, he gets a pass.
Swipe is crazy. It's crazy. I'm watching because I'm watching the game with the fellas who was Chill and Ron was there, and Tyrese hit a couple threes. I was playing a game, good game. I had to run downstairs and grab some groceries real quick. I come back upstairs and all the chat's talking about what's the NBA going to do about this? This is crazy. Something has to change. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? We got a good basketball game going on. Mm-hmm. And I see prayers for Hali. I could not believe that. So I seen the replay. That was terrible. That was just I didn't really care too much about who won the game and lost the game either way. You know what I'm saying? I wanted a good game. But that shit was really sad though, yo. Like I'm like that was really sad.
It kind of sucked the energy out of the game. I'm not gonna lie. I do think we were headed for a fantastic game 7. Because I was just worried about how Indiana would come out. I thought they would have to respond to OKC's like initial haymaker punch, them being at home, game 7. Mm-hmm. They've been playing superb basketball at home, especially compared to them on the road, but Indiana came out and they looked like they were the ones throwing the first haymaker. Haliburton came out there, hit 3 threes in a row. Mm-hmm. Definitely was playing with a lot of confidence. And I think he was setting the tone for at least just letting his team know, kind of like, hey, we here. There's nothing to be scared of, settle into the game. Mm-hmm. And if we play our game, we can win. You know what I'm saying? I think he was like kind of setting that belief early in the game, but very unfortunate that Haliburton went down like that. And like I said, it was anticlimactic. As much as we want to just give praise and, give congrats to OKC, it was anticlimactic for that to be the game 7 that we got and for Haliburton to go down like that, especially because this has been an amazing series up until that point too.
And I think part of those guys, there's a part of those guys that wish Haliburton didn't get hurt. But ultimately, I say, like, we don't care. We won.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. For sure. But what's funny is players, Chill, to that point though, players are aware of narrative. Last year we got the Tatum. What are they going to say now? The Steph copy, right? Mm-hmm. And then this year, Alex Caruso, 3 beers in, finally got a real ring. So like, it's funny because the players, they're so hyper aware of narratives, and I think even for Caruso in that moment, it's like, yeah, we didn't win a real ring. Like, and even in his brain, it's like it's ingrained that people are saying that. So I mean, they know what the conversation is going to be this summer. They know what's going to be next year, so they're going to be aware of it. The question for OKC is obviously how they respond. But you know what I thought about Chill and PC? If JD was paying attention, he could have put this up. Chill. Remember, we had the argument about technology and about injuries.
Sure.
And remember, I told you the thing that's making injuries what they are is the level of athletes we have, the space, the level of defense you have to play, the amount of movement that this league requires you to play in. And I think we have 8 Achilles tears so far, in the season that we just played, 3 star level Achilles tears in the NBA playoffs between Dame, Tatum, and Hali. And I do think, and Mars obviously was very loud about this online, just in terms of not playing with calf injuries and all that stuff, which I completely understand. But Chill, I think we need to come to like a little bit of a consensus here. I do think the reason why injuries are happening to this degree with tendons especially is because the game and the demand of the game with the level of athletes that we have in place. I think all of that, including the pace, the athletes, the grind on the body, still maintaining an 82-game season, I think all of that together is what's leading to these kind of points. Now, maybe I'm not talking necessarily straight at tears, Chill, but in terms of lower body extremities, like in these injuries we're seeing pile up, I do think it's all that stuff mixed up together.
Well, when I want to put this on the right quick, Chill. I just want to put this on the screen so we could look at the ACL and Achilles injuries over this season. You have Tyrese Haliburton, obviously, in Game 7 yesterday. Jason Tatum obviously tore his Achilles as well in the second round of the playoffs. Then you go back earlier in the season, DeJounte Murray. Then you have Kyrie Irving. He tore his ACL. Dame, first round of the playoffs, tears his Achilles. Isaiah Jackson, another Pacer. He tore his Achilles. James Wiseman, another Pacer, tore his Achilles. Grant Williams, torn ACL. DeAnthony Melton, torn ACL. I think he did that like first 5 games of the season. Drew Smith ruptured his Achilles. And then you have Mo Wagner also tore his left Achilles as well, or left ACL.
Yep. So to your point, Swiper, which the grind is, we already know what the grind is, but we haven't had nearly as many injuries like this to this extent that we had in the past. So what I'm thinking is if the athlete is better, sure, there's a lot more space that I have to cover. And with a lot more space that has to cover, that suggests that that's more work that I have to do. Well, Mars, if you're giving me more work to do, and if you're giving me more work to do in an advanced environment, doesn't that mean that you got to update my equipment too? Because if you're making me do more work, if I'm building a building and I'm building a building in a space where this building needs to be more technologically advanced, well, this saw that I have, this saw is not going to be good enough. You got to give me something better than this saw if you want me to perform at the level that I need to perform. With technology being what it is, the equipment that these guys have, maybe that needs to change too. So like these sleeves that these guys wear, the shoes that these guys wear. I don't remember having Achilles tears and ACL tears like this when guys wore higher shoes. That may be an issue. These sleeves that these guys wear. When Allen Iverson wore that sleeve on his left elbow, just so you know, that wasn't for aesthetics. He had a condition on his elbow. That's why he wore it, for his elbow. So the conditions that these guys play in, the fact that the game is advanced, the fact that these guys have gotten better, maybe the equipment needs to be updated so these guys can perform at a higher level and they're able to stay on the floor.
Chill. My thing is, and I don't want to go too deep into it. I mean, we can go as deep as you guys want to go into it. Pause. But my thing on this is chill. Like we all act like in the 90s, people wasn't rotating and scrambling and shuffling their feet.
Not to this extent.
See, I disagree. I disagree.
The game was not this wide open. Guys were shooting the long ball. I'm not going to argue that, Ron. Guys were 100% shooting the long ball. But the game was in the mid-range and the game was on the box. The 3 was a luxury for teams.
You can maybe say for bigs, but even in this list that I mentioned, not all of these guys were bigs. Like my thing is DeJounte Murray, Tyrese Haliburton, Kyrie Irving, they're not big men. So like yeah, it was some big men in here, but my thing is in the 2000s compared to now, I was scrambling, moving my feet, sliding, closing out just as much as I was today.
You didn't have to cover nearly this much space, Ron. You didn't. You
Chill.
had to.
I
You had
still
to cover.
hoop.
Okay, you still did, but
Yeah,
you
okay,
didn't
but
have to cover.
you bring in I'm not. Well, I mean, there's a
Ron.
significant gap between the level. That's what I'm saying. Like we're.
So,
You're an athlete, Ron. I'm saying you're an athlete, Ron. I'm not. No, I've seen you, but I'm saying like there's a significant gap between you and the people you're covering, and the wear and tear of an 82 game season.
now
Plus
the wear
travel,
and tear of
plus
an 82
playoff.
game
plus
season.
What about the
I
80s?
do-
What about the 70s and the 80s when they were running up and down the court nonstop?
Was it?
But I'm saying
That's what I'm saying. Was it the pace
no,
faster?
but
Like, in the
the pace of
70s,
the
was it the
game-
pace faster?
But I
Okay,
feel like y'all are like undermining like we're because only in NBA have we done that. Could chill. You can speak to this obviously well because you watched more than even I have. But real talk, the NFL, like, are you would you be presupposing that the game is the same and the level of athletes are the same in the NFL as they were in the 1980s?
No, I'm glad you brought up the NFL though, because I was actually going to bring that up myself. Look, I know injuries are a part of sports. They just are. So if we want to sit here and try to do they should cut the game down to 72 games or 65. People are going to be injured and get injured in that 65 game regular season or that 72 game regular season. In football, they keep moderating the rules. They keep changing the equipment.
But do you know why they changed
you can't. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, for the concussions and stuff like that, the helmets and stuff. But what I'm saying is that you can't mitigate violence out of football. You can't you can't take injury out of sports. It's unfortunate.
They've lessened the violence.
Stuff is going to happen.
That's what I'm saying. No, but like they
literally
took the kickoff away. They've taken spearing head to head away. They've taken the targeting stuff came in over 10 years ago.
Saying football. What I'm saying, football it's a violent sport.
It is. Yeah,
you're going to have a lot of collisions that are unfortunate. You're going to have incidents that are unfortunate. Mm-hmm. You're going to see. Actually, when I used to play football, and I know a lot of other football players that say this too. I would rather you hit me up top than be trying to hit me at my knee and take out my knee and my ankle and all that kind of stuff. And now I got a torn ACL when I could have just had a concussion. I mean, just a concussion sounds crazy, but when you are
very crazy.
But in comparison to like my ligaments and my knee are going, the athlete would rather, because you can bounce back from a concussion way faster than you can bounce back from a torn ACL. So I'm just saying, like, it is what it is. There's unfortunate circumstances.
That's you got to remember real talk from Texas. They different in Texas when it comes to football.
That's a football state. Like you all right, get your helmet.
I'd rather have a concussion than a torn ACL too.
Yeah, but you know what else I'd rather, Ron? I'd rather when I'm 42 years old, I know where I live in an hour.
Well, I mean, chill. We talk about either or though. Like you don't want either of them. But I'm saying I'd rather be out 2 or 3 weeks than to be out for a whole season.
2 or 3 weeks.
And maybe never come back at all.
2 or 3 weeks.
Think about your life after sports though, Ron. Like you have concussions. You can only play into your mid-30s. You know what I'm saying? If you're in football, if you're lucky, play to your mid-30s. So my thing is, of course, I don't want to tear my ACL. And if it's a 1-for-1 thing, like one concussion, one ACL, I understand where you're coming from. Like from
the athlete perspective, I know it's not smart when you step back and think about it.
I don't want to be in my 50s and 40s and have headaches and can't remember shit and you know what I'm saying, be dizzy. You know what I'm saying?
Want to blow my brains out because I hurt all the time and it's unbearable.
That's a quality of life thing. I only played football when I was young. You know what I'm saying? I didn't play football past my sophomore year in high school, so I don't know what y'all know about football. All I'm saying is that I wouldn't want to have either one. But as far as the basketball goes, I think a lot of fans are like worried about not being able to see as many games or this and that. But I think if you were to maybe lessen this, maybe I don't know about lessening games, but maybe less back-to-backs, you know, less games bunched up on road trips, you know what I'm saying? Give the players a little bit more time to recover and heal.
Well, they've done that before this year, Ox. This season it's been the least amount of back-to-back games.
Right. Well, I'm saying even more, chill. Like there's because you gotta think there's so many teams in the NBA, right? Where if they staggered the schedule, you could still fill up, you know, game wise as far as like making sure there's games on TV and give teams a little bit more time in between to rest and whatnot. And
Ox, I gotta jump in here right quick. Just hold that right quick. Shout out to PrizePicks because, well, they've made it an entertaining season for us, to say the least. It's been great from start to finish, being able to select our favorite players in the favorite sport we like, obviously basketball, and, well, choose more or less on their player projections for the day. Now, with PrizePicks, you can get $50 in lineups instantly when you play just $5, but only when you use promo code PANEL. Shout out to PrizePicks. It has been an exhilarating season with PrizePicks, and it's very easy to use. And this is kind of how you do it. This is how you join the action, and this is how you run your game at PrizePicks. You select a player projection, you choose more or less, and then you can win real money. Yes, not Monopoly money, real money. Up to 2,000 times the money that you put in. And they have instant payouts with secure withdrawals. So right now, claim your $50 in lineup fees by using promo code PANEL, downloading the app, and go have the time of your life. As you were saying, Ox?
No, that's all. I'm just saying, like, I don't think if they gave the players a little more rest, a little less back-to-backs, or just lessen it up a little more, I don't think it would hurt the quality of the sport. I don't think fans will really notice.
Agreed.
I know a lot of guys are like, oh, that's crazy. They've been doing this, they could play whatever. Like, it's not gonna hurt you. The only thing it can do is maybe help some players not get injured. And
15
the thing about
back-to-backs too, Ox. Golly.
Well, I'm just saying though, why not? Who does that hurt? Like,
No, I'm saying like having 15 is not necessary. I'm saying we can less than 15 would be perfectly fine.
Right, but we can do none.
But they've already made progress with that. Like I said, this is the least amount of backups they've played this season ever.
Right.
So we're making progress, Ox.
You said least amount of backups.
Are you against them going further and doing maybe? I'm so for no back-to-backs.
Anything, to be honest with you, anything to, one, make the game better, two, keep the athlete on the floor. I'm all for that. Because to be quite honest with you, Ox, I understand that I'm getting paid $45 million. I understand that I'm getting paid $50 million. But the idea of playing against the Toronto Raptors tonight, and I got to jump on a bird tonight, and I show up at the hotel at 2:30 in the morning, and I got to get right back to it tomorrow, and I just got off a plane from 3 hours, that's hard to do.
Chill, you've done that before. You've done that before.
That is hard to do.
So this is my question. So first of all, everybody's not making 35 mil. Everybody's not making top dollars. So there's players that are making less than that still got to play the same games. They might play less minutes. I understand that, right? But chill. I want to talk to you because you've done that before. You've played back-to-back games before.
Not in the NBA, but I have.
Yeah, I'm not talking. We're talking basketball, right?
Sure.
And you've played a game, and the next day, does it take a little more to get your body going?
Yes, I gotta get running. Even when I'm 21, 22 years old, yes, I still gotta get my motor running. I gotta get loose. And this is before what we have today, Swipe Up, in terms of technology and massages and trainers and things of that nature. We don't have that. It's just, get your ankle tape, throw your shoes on, let's stretch a little bit, and let's get to it. This has nothing to do with getting on a massage table or nothing like that. No.
Chill. It's not even like, and so I know I'm going, I don't know if it's extreme, but I'm just saying, just even at any level of basketball, even like in AAU, when you play five games in a week,
5 games in a day,
that's a lot on you. That's a lot on you. It doesn't, and all the extra recovery and stuff. I'm saying, like, even kids are popping ibuprofens and rubbing icy hot and Tiger Balm on their bodies at 15, 16 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, ice straight to the knees. You playing through it. So, and I'm not saying like, oh, stop AAU, because it's nothing like AAU. You know what I'm saying? That was crazy dope. But like at this point when you're playing professionals, man, I don't think it's no need to be playing all these back-to-backs, bro.
I just feel like it's a double-edged sword, because what's the most important thing here, Ox? The most important thing is the players, the product. We have no product, we have no game. And if the product is damaged, if the product is damaged, then the quality of the game goes down. The quality of the game goes down. Now we don't have the audience. All right, so what can we do to ensure that these guys are as healthy as possible, are as able to play, and are as available as possible? What can we do to do that? Well, travel has improved. Not only has travel improved, accommodations have improved, medicine has improved. All of this stuff has improved. And to Ron's point, the game, it's a lot more wide open, Ron. There's so much more space. if I'm 21 years old having to play in today's game, there's so much more space I got to cover now. I don't have to just
you
cover.
wasn't picking up people full court back in the day?
I was picking up people full court, but here's the difference, Ron. In the half court, I only had to cover to the long ball line. And I didn't even have to close out a lot of times because guys weren't shooting the long ball. Now I got to cover further than the long ball. Not only do I have to cover further than the long ball, I got to close out different because a guy is driving. And not only is he driving, he may stop at the long ball line. So I got to take that into consideration.
So
now
niggas didn't drive in the 80s?
100% they drove in the 80s, but they drove to the rim.
But Ron, I feel like you're really simplifying this. I'm a little surprised.
He is.
Honestly.
He 100%
I'm not,
is,
because
Ron.
I
But
played
you can't keep
basketball in the
comparing
2000s.
yourself
I
to
played
these people,
basketball
though.
in the 10s.
Ron,
Way
you got to
different than the game was
you need
30
to
years ago.
decenter yourself in this. You ain't them, and you ain't one of these athletes. Nor you playing 82.
Swiper. Okay, the 82 part I get,
but you ain't them either. You're not that athlete either.
You can't say the 82 part when athletes in high school tear their Achilles and ACL, athletes in college tear their Achilles and ACL, athletes overseas, athletes in the G League, and they don't play 82 games.
No, Ron, but did you? I guess what I'm saying is, Ron,
you can get hurt in practice. You can get hurt in
but you
can get hurt. Like
you seem to be getting confused though with my.
Swiper, you don't know who I'm playing against. You don't know who I'm playing against.
Ron, the reason why I don't want to bring you into the conversation.
I have to close out to, like, they might not be in the NBA, but
no,
these white boys that I play against are
the reason why I don't want to include you in the
that shoot from the
conversation
logo.
is because I don't want to. I'm trying to do two things: not undermine what you have done, because I publicly acknowledge that you are a really good athlete and you have a great track record as an athlete, but I'm also not trying to center that, because that's not the experience of these NBA athletes that we're currently talking about. So what I'm saying is, it's not just the 82.
It's bad athletes.
What I'm putting together, the argument I was putting together as to why this is such a prevalent issue now, is that, to your point, Ron, if this was the night, I've said this about myself. If I was in my prime in 1982, I would have been a first round pick at linebacker. 232 pounds, running a 4.65, that explosive. In 2012, that was nothing. But Ron, you 1963, Bill Russell, who knows? Like, you probably would have been locking up Bob Cousy and them. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there, Ron. There's a possibility. But Ron, what I'm saying is that now everybody else is that much better of an athlete than you or I, and they're having to cover other people who are even better athletes. And the pace, plus the athleticism, plus the grind, plus the fact that you're playing so many minutes, plus the fact that you still got training camp, preseason, regular season, playoffs, and then you take 3 months off, and in that 3 months, you're playing basketball again versus the other athletes.
Okay, so what is the solution?
I proposed it already. If you weren't here,
what is it?
And then I thought Ox had a great idea too. I personally think that reducing the schedule load. The NBA knows that it doesn't have to have. So one of the very simple things, I'll put this to you real talk and ask you this question because you're a guest, and I want you to make sure you answer this. One of the things that people did suppose, real talk, is starting the regular season either later or extending when the NBA Finals is played through. So what you do is you spread the season out more. If you're going to keep 82 games, that way you eliminate back-to-backs, basically virtually period. And then on top of that, real talk, the Indiana Pacers played in the damn in-season tournament, and they played an 83rd. They played an 83rd game last year. Mm-hmm. So like, there's also the NBA adding more games.
Game isn't the reason why Tyrese Haliburton.
No, I know, but I'm giving you multiple data points. Is what I'm saying. So you don't have to always get stuck on one. I'm saying in totality, these are adding to the issues. Real talk. If they extended the year and eliminated more back-to-back and extended the year 1 month, would you be in favor of something like that, to say now the NBA Finals is ending July 4th or, July 15th or whatever else, as opposed to right now?
So I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. I know a lot of the times I thought you were going to say or mention like reducing the games, and that's just up to the players. That's up to the players if they want to take a pay cut, because with less money, with less games,
we're not trying to hear that.
You're going to make less money. That's not going to be a fact. So if they don't want to do that, then the schedule is going to be basically what the schedule is. They want to keep making, if they want the salary cap to keep going up over and over and over again and get paid 60, 65, 70. Now we finna get to some players making $75
We're not doing that with
$62
62 games. We're not doing that with a 65 game schedule.
You're gonna have to play the games. It is what it is, bro. I'm sorry. I don't have a problem with the schedule. I don't have a problem with it's a give and a take. The give is that I can play a profession that gives me generational wealth. I can do something that provides for not only me and my family at the time being, but for generations to come. And the trade-off is, hey, my body may be a little sore. Hey, I may get an injury. I may like that. That's the give and the take about wanting to be a professional athlete. They're professional athletes. People are going to get hurt. It's very unfortunate. But the trade-off is that Tyrese Haliburton is finna get paid. Didn't he make the All-NBA team to sign that extension?
He just signed an extension.
He's gonna make what? $50-something million a year.
What
He
does that
already
mean,
doing it.
though?
He just signed an extension. He just signed a max extension. He
Real talk, I think the main thing too, real talk, is so I want to put it this way, and I don't want it to sound, messed up or anything, but I'm not saying for these professionals, when it's kids and stuff like that, okay, protect them. For the professionals, I'm not necessarily saying protect the professional. I'm saying protect the quality of the game you're about to put in front of me. If these losers hurt, I'm about to be watching some weak ass basketball all in the East.
And then you're gonna turn it off, Box.
It's
and then
not
you're gonna turn it off. You're not gonna want to watch.
Because
I know that. I know that.
We're gonna be just as tapped in next year.
Ron, but I'm
talking
about for the casual fan, Ron, who they love.
They're gonna enjoy it too. They're gonna learn about Paulo Banchero.
Okay,
Joel Embiid's gonna be back. They're gonna learn about LaMelo Ball. Like
they know about LaMelo Ball. Bro. I'm talking about Tyrese Haliburton fans, Jason Tatum fans. My son is devastated about this Jason Tatum thing.
Yeah, and next year he's gonna have a new favorite player.
He will because he's
Ron, you're very sensitive. I'm not gonna
on.
lie. That's crazy.
The show will go on.
Ron, we know that, Ron. What I'm saying is that there's a lot of casual fans out there, Ron, and you can't grasp it because you are a hooper, because you love basketball. You might not be able to see from the eyes of the casual fan, and I'm happy for you. That's a good thing. But they exist. They exist, bro. And there
that's
are
what we going after too, Ron. By the way,
watch NBA basketball because of Tyrese Haliburton, Dame Lillard, and Jason Tatum. You got to accept that as a fact because that is true. But what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say to Real Talk's point, because Real Talk is saying, the trade-off, like we're trying to protect the professional athlete. The trade-off is that you're going to get paid more. Real Talk, think about it from the other aspect of it, where we're not so much concerned with their health, as I know that sounds wrong, and I of course I care about their health, but it's not so much about that. It's more about the fact that the Indiana Pacers were just in the finals this year. You know what I'm saying? They won't be next year. You know what I mean? The Celtics are looking at trading Jaylen Brown and all these other players because they can't do nothing this year and they got to pay all this money. Like the Celtics are, for all intents and purposes, going to be garbage next year. You know what I'm saying? Giannis out there wasting time in Milwaukee. He don't got no Dame. They're not doing nothing next year. Well, I mean, they might now. It's a little more wide open. But you know what I'm saying?
They'll make the playoffs, but to your point,
yeah, they're not doing nothing. So I'm saying, like, what about the quality? Damn, the quality of their life. What about the quality of our entertainment?
Yeah,
entertainment is still going to be there. The NBA we're still gonna have an NBA finals.
Boy, Ron, when you want to be dense, when you want to not listen, bro, you be perfect.
So here's the thing. No, because you guys are spewing nonsense.
Ron's logic
like,
is the show. Ron's logic is the show will go on.
Y'all act like Kobe Bryant didn't have to retire.
I feel like Ox presented a very fair argument too.
No, he is, but I'm saying no.
Okay, well, at least hear it and at least internalize his perspective. At least internalize his perspective and be like, you know what? I understand. My counterpoint would be, go ahead.
That's not wrong.
That's what I'm saying.
Ron is the show's gonna go on.
I got it. It doesn't matter.
The show must go on.
Okay, so it's gonna be raining in Boston. Cool. Well, guess what? Somebody else is gonna make the Eastern Conference Finals, and it's gonna be sunshine somewhere else.
And that's a fair point, Ron.
Okay, my thing is, we might lose some casual Boston fans, but you know what? We might gain some more casual fans in this other market that hasn't been popping in forever.
Charlotte,
we just gained some casual fans in Indiana.
That is business.
Like I'm saying, like it's
the NBA is going nowhere.
I'm saying, actually, your son might be tight because Jason Tatum went down.
$50 super chat, Ron. They said enough of yo yapping.
Well, guess what? He gonna find another favorite player elsewhere.
I mean, it
might be Jalen Green in Phoenix.
I'm telling you,
$50 super chat. Let's say Ron hush.
Mind Goblin said, "Can we please change the subject?"
Why?
I'm glad you said-
Hold on, Ron. Why do we need to change the subject? First of all, a team in Indiana was just in the NBA Finals. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals. They lost their point guard for next season. This is a big deal. The Boston Celtics just won the NBA championship last year. They lost their best player to an Achilles injury. What are we doing? Why is this not something that we should be talking about? Why? What else should we be talking about right now? The NBA Finals was decided
SGA's
last
legacy
night.
next to Kobe Bryant. They want to
The-
talk about
the-
that.
the
No, we definitely have to
NBA
talk about that.
Finals
I do
was
want to.
decided last night.
They want to. That's what
They
they do.
probably
Actually
just
wanna talk about
don't want to hear about it for 45 minutes. I don't know. Maybe that's it.
Well,
Yeah,
either way it
The
goes,
NBA Finals was
Morris, you
decided
got
last night
anything?
because
something
their
else you wanna
point
get
guard
into?
wasn't. He had a lot to do with him not being there. That's a big deal.
either
But
way
you
it
know what,
goes,
Mind Goblin? You want to talk basketball? Let's talk about this Oklahoma City team being the team of the ages. Let's do that. All right, I'm down to do that. Sure.
Mind Goblin, appreciate you for sending through that
Absolutely,
$50.
brother. Sure.
Let's talk about the 2025-26 title odds as of now. Now, obviously, the season ended yesterday, but these are
The
the
Cleveland
title
Cavaliers.
odds for today. OKC is back on top. You
What
have
do I see?
Cleveland number 2,
That's what I got winning it next year. I got
the
Who?
Knicks third.
I got Cleveland winning it next year.
Oh wait, who? We're the Lakers.
I got the Cavs winning the NBA championship next year.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry about what. Why you always worried about
Hold on,
that?
hold on. No, real talk. No narrative. I'm not. I told you I don't want to do that. I'm surprised they have Luka and LeBron and they're not on the list.
knew
That's
that.
why I'm surprised.
It's okay. It doesn't matter. Worry
Wait a
about
minute.
what
Hold
going
on. Ron, go back to the full screen. Hold on, because he needs to be put in his place real quick.
Why-
Real
why
talk.
is
I was. Hold on. I was
Real talk,
acknowledging. that the- I was acknowledging-
Real talk,
I was
you wanna be under
acknowledging
swiper
that
or
the
next to
Lakers
swiper
should be
during
on the. Hey, first off, Ron, you hush up. Your
Don't
time is
ever
over.
have me underneath Swiper ever again.
$50 super
Switch
chat.
me and
I
Mars
will
or something.
literally.
Thank you.
I will go take over the controls myself and do it myself.
Yeah, Mars.
Look, Ron. $50 super chat to change the subject. Now you want to be back on the bottom, so we put you back in the place where you belong. What I said was the Lakers should be here. They should be on the list. I was surprised they're not.
My point is,
So
why
no,
are you looking at the list thinking, where's the Lakers? I wasn't looking at the list like, where's Denver? I don't give a damn.
My life doesn't revolve around you numbskulls. I like basketball. Real talk. That's the issue. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. Real talk. So you're saying that because you're a Lakers fan, I can't acknowledge Luka and LeBron not being here is ridiculous? Because you're here? Who are you? You're Mr. Nobody. You got Real Talk FC. I don't care about your little FC. If I wanted to hear from you, I'll call you on a road trip and ask you about your favorite movie again. I ain't calling you about that right now. But you stay in your place. I want to know why the Lakers ain't here. Especially since we're projecting the Lakers are going to get DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton's going to be a paint protector for the Lakers again. He's going to have a solid 17 and 11 with the Lakers with Luka and LeBron and Austin Reeves. And so I'm trying to figure out why the Lakers would not be here when they got a top 3 player in the sport and they're not sitting in the top 10 at all. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Hey, Jokic starting to get real Western Conference and beatish since that championship. Get out the second round.
Hey, real talk. That's how non-investor you are. That makes no sense whatsoever. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Hold on. Real talk. Can you run that by me again? Hey, wait. Can you run that by me again? What does it mean to be real in Western Conference and beatish? What does that mean? Can you say
What
that?
it means if you move that championship away, there's really not that much.
So the last 2 years he hadn't been out of the second round. Hold the F on. Have the Lakers been out of the first round? Have they won more than 2 games in the last 2 years in the first round? Huh? Real talk. Lean up in your chair with your little small photo behind you and tell me, what's the Lakers record past the first round in the last 2 years?
Sit forward, Real Talk.
17.
Oh, here you go. Look at this guy go gobble. Again. This boy bringing up Will Chamberlain, bro. Come on, bro. That's what I'm saying. I asked a fair question, and this hopper over here, this Lakers hopper, wanted to get off the mic and be mad at me because I was addressing a very simple question. But this is what you want, Goblin. Hey, my Goblin. You want to change the subject? Real Talk is talking now. Now look at the subject. The show went downhill since you sent that super chat and Real Talk came off the mic. We were having a very nuanced discussion
No,
about
you wanted to-
basketball,
you wanted to bring
about
up the Lakers
injuries,
for the
about the
50th
things that
time,
make
like
players
y'all-
more vulnerable and successful to
Hey,
lower
but
extremity
hey,
injuries.
Ron,
And
Ron,
now the show is, hey,
whenever
real
we-
talk's like, hey, gobble, gobble,
whenever we
gobble.
bring up
Why are
the
you talking about the
Nuggets,
Lakers? Gobble,
whenever
gobble,
we bring up
gobble.
the
Like,
Nuggets,
come on, bro.
Oh my God. This is all about narrative. Oh my God. This is PC. This is the conversations we have on PC.
That's a good question.
Whenever we
though.
talk about the Nuggets, though, okay.
Let's just talk about that. Like with the odds though, I think it's a little weird though. Like I think it's weird to have Boston up there and not have the Lakers up there. I think it's weird to have Boston up there and not have Dallas up there. You know what I'm saying? So why aren't the Lakers up here?
So I'm gonna put some money on Dallas actually. While y'all
I'm talking about the Lakers, and you got screwed by the Lakers in 2002. Don't bring them up. You a hater. You a clear Lakers fan. You are not. You are a Lakers hater. Get out of here.
Swipe. At first, you was right, but now when you say things like that, you're actually proving Real Talk's point.
I'm not proving nothing. I'm the only one that can't talk about him. You are a traumatized Sacramento Kings fan.
Not to talk about him, Swipe. I don't care who
you got more. You got as much reason to hate them as I do. I was having a basketball discussion.
I'm not doing this with you. I'm not doing it with you.
All right, cool. I'm done. Real Talk started this, by the way. The show went downhill. The ratings crashed when Jerry Springer got up here. I just want y'all to know that when Jerry Springer got up here, fight. He's the one that crashed the show out.
You brought me into it. You said Real Talk. Where's the Lakers?
Hey, Real Talk.
Hey, Real Talk.
Real Talk. You know who you are? You're a Hufflepuff. I don't know if you know what that means. You're a Hufflepuff. That's you. That's the dormitory you belong to. A huff and a puff. And you blow people's houses down. You can't come up real Gryffindors, Slytherins up here. You ain't even a Ravenclaw. You a Hufflepuff. You know what you do? You know.
Are you making Harry Potter references?
To be up there over the Celtics.
What'd you say? Ron?
I said, why aren't the Clippers up there?
I don't know. Clippers, that's why. That's why, because it's the Clippers. For no other reason except it's the Clippers.
All right, but with that being said, though, too, I think Swiper has a good point. If you got Luka, you got Bron.
I thought it was it. Well, is it possible that? Well, I can't say that it's possible because they haven't signed Luka yet, so they're not sure what's going to happen with Luka, and they haven't signed James, and But I can say the same thing about the Celtics. They're going to lose Jason Tatum. They haven't made any offseason moves. So why the Celtics up there too? So yeah, I don't see
how the Celtics are up there.
Yeah.
Chill. Well, speaking of offseason moves, Kevin Durant was traded yesterday, and we are going to talk about that. Before we do that, let me go ahead and move the fake Rockets fans up here. Before we do that, I want to tell everybody to turn on your notification bells. Also, subscribe if you haven't.
Real Talk.
Become a member to Players Choice if you're not a member. And speaking of which, let me go ahead and shout out all Hall of Famers because you guys are the GOATs of Players Choice in the panel. Let me shout out to Vale, shout out Kingster, shout out Cheese, Braden, Arch, Joe Breezy, Minor, Rob Deere, Teddy Hart, Jason Grillionaire, Worldwide Mace Television, and Multi Kenny. Salute to you guys. Also, speaking of the chat and speaking of our Hall of Famers, well, fellas, we got something interesting coming up this Friday, and it is the Players' Choice Chat Awards. It's not a panel without the chat, and there will be some awards given out to panelists and to selective members in the chat. And I know you guys are wondering, what are the awards? Who's it going to be? Who's going to win it? How many awards go to the chat? How many awards go to the panelists? Well, I'm glad you guys asked that because this is what we look in that chat. Let me go ahead and move everybody over to the left side. These are the awards that we are looking at. You have the biggest yapper. And this is the panelist who just doesn't know when to shut the hell up. Then you have the worst take. I don't know who this is going to be.
With that one.
But this is the panelist who dropped the wildest and the most cooked take of the year. So you guys go dig in your bag and find out.
Can I predict the award winners real quick?
If you would like. Hold on, wait. Hold on. Who you got for biggest yapper and worst take?
Well, I mean, Penn's not here right now, so Penn, worst take. It's going to be chill with the floor for the Celtics is the finals. Guest of the year is probably going to be Dion. Just knowing how that award is going to go. Iron Man chat member, definitely one buddy. Panelist of the year is going to be Mars. Beef of the year is probably, I don't know if Real Talk Pin is going to make that one. Pin versus someone is going to be there. Chat MVP.
Hold on, right quick. The beef of the year doesn't have to just be chat versus chat or panelist versus panelist. It could be chat versus chat or panelist versus chat. So,
one buddy, he wants that award, but he's been gunning for it.
It might not be Buddy. It might be Bars versus Kareem.
It could be Vision. Vision could be it.
Vision versus Jordan. Yeah,
we haven't seen Vision since that happened, mind you. So it looks like he got it.
It might be Arch versus $2 super chats. Never know.
Actually, beef of the year is you and super chats. Probably that's my number one. Chat MVP. Chill. Who's chat MVP?
And this is the chat member who owned the chat all year long, always tapped in. Basically, the most consistent chatter. I don't know if Arch come with $100 donations. I don't know if he's a chat. See, the chat MVP, you got to be somebody that's present during Chill with Chill. It got to be somebody that's there when we on Playback. It got to be somebody that's commenting after the show, somebody that's commenting on our TikToks. You know, they're everywhere. Anything PC, they there.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be a panel MVP. I feel like what's panel MVP and panelist of the year? What are the differences?
You got to ask Cheerio.
Okay, well, two separate winners for that, so I can predict who's going to win the first one. The second one's going to be open, but I think we're having a few people.
Panelist of the year is more than likely, if I had to decide or if I had to put a definition to it, panelist of the year is really just who had the best ride this last year. Panel MVP is really who held it down the most this last year, or for the panel.
Okay, rookie of the year. That's only Jordan. Jordan's only rookie that we have. Real talk.
Jordan Penn. So I think you still qualify for a rookie of the year.
I can't be a rookie though. This is my second season.
You came on late last season.
No, I came on in February of last year. So like we were still like painting the picture. I don't feel like I should be up for that one. That way, Real Talk, Jordan, Penn. Who else is new?
John D, Joel, even though the short appearances, Carson, short appearances.
I think Carson and them will. Oh, no.
Yeah, they will qualify for guests. Same for Joel.
Guest, yeah.
Okay. All right. And then we got biggest crash out. I don't even know, bro. It has to be you, one of those, because some of them you had was funny as all get out, bro. I mean, I really gotta work through that list. Most obnoxious, it's probably gonna be me or Penn or Troll Mars, but that one won't get elected. I feel like Ron should qualify for this one, but he won't because he doesn't do it enough. Goofy of the year, biggest clown moments. There's only one person that can win that award.
What you
There's
mean?
only one.
That's a chat. That's a chat award. So
yeah, biggest clown chat person. Yeah, we know who that is. Everyone knows. I can say 1, 2, 3. We can all say the same name. So.
Hey Ron, are these going to be actual like awards like the ESPY or the Oscar that you can like put up and put on your backdrop and stuff?
So like, what you're saying is, does everybody get like trophies or something like that?
Yeah, or is this just like a bragging rights?
You know, Ox, I haven't been given too much detail or intel into what's going to happen. I hope we all get awards because I hope when I get host of the year, I know it's not up here, but when I get host of the year, I hope I get something to put on my wall. But hey, you never know. I guess
Ron, you have no action at host of the year, bro. No action.
None. Zero. As in zero.
No
suck, Ron. Garbage.
As a matter of fact, real talk, you made it to the finals, didn't you? Or near the finals, right? In the PC?
PCL?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm you know.
And you were like the 16th seed. So like that's a big deal. Like that's a rookie of the year nomination right there.
That was their mistake to begin with, starting me that low. But
well, it was random. It was random, mind you. It was random.
Hey, real talk. Actually, that should go into your qualification for rookie of the year.
That's what I'm saying.
I was back up in the PCL.
Real talk. You need to campaign like Draymond Green for that because
that's a fact.
I don't really see myself. I mean, I may be a rookie to the panel, but the OG open gymmers know me. You know what I'm saying? The OG open gymmers, you know, we had a time over there. So
when did that start?
I already know me, but I am a rookie on the panelist. You know, I mean on the panel.
When did the open gym start? Last year?
Was that 2 years ago?
Okay,
something like that.
Yeah, well, shout out to the Chat Awards this Friday. It's going to be an amazing time. So y'all be sure to pull up on time. Before we get around to this Kevin Durant trade, I do want to read some super chats.
Let's do it.
So Eastside General sent through a super chat, and he just said thunderstorms and a championship trophy. Shout out to the Thunder.
He won the NBA championship. That's big time, yo. Mm-hmm.
Tank Jones said, "Give me my ring, LeBron. It's oxtails for lunch."
That's fire, Tank. Hospital ring if I ever seen one.
We got another super chat from Tupac Westside. Tupac said, "I'm really happy for OKC. Prayers up for Hali, though. If a grown athlete was screaming in pain, then I couldn't imagine how someone like me could deal with an injury like that. Breaks my heart."
You know, that sucks. And like the way it's always been described, I've never seen an Achilles pop in real life, like in a game before. I've seen broken legs for sure, but they said it's like a gunshot, like a bow, like you can hear it.
You seen it pop in under his sock though. Did you guys
No,
see
I'm
that?
saying you can see it, yeah, but I'm saying when you next to it, apparently you can hear it, like out.
Oh yeah.
Not being the person, you can hear it happen.
It's crazy that we did. I mean, we saw that, and he knew it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
He knew it immediately. He was like, no. Like he knew it as soon
So
as.
not only do we lose him for the rest of the series, we lose him next year too. Sometimes you got to be saved from yourself. I'm not saying that I wouldn't have tried to go out there, but maybe it wasn't a good idea for me to go out there. Maybe I should not have played. Maybe I should have went home and healed up.
I do want to talk about like the choice of that, because Mars was saying how, you know, teams should hold out the players and stuff like that. I do want y'all's opinion. I know y'all played yourself. Would you want the decision like kind of taken out of your hands like that, or determining if you're going to play in a game 7 of a final? If you feel like you can go.
Since I'm not in that position, real talk, I can say truthfully that I don't think it matters if you like it or not. You know what I'm saying? I think there should be a point where a medical staff has to say so in something like that. Like, nah, it's crazy. Because once again, sometimes like dudes are young, you know what I'm saying? And like we don't, no disrespect to the youth or whatever, but you know, sometimes when you're young, you don't make the best decisions. You know what I'm saying? You think you're, you know, invincible. Like me and Chill, we talked about that when we both were saying like, yeah, we'd play, but at the same time, Chill was saying that Hali shouldn't play. So what does that tell you? Chill knows the right choice, but at the same time, if it was himself at 25, he knows that he's going to play.
You can't stop an athlete from playing. There's no way to do it.
I mean, I think you should be able to, though. I think you should be able to. I think ultimately the coach should say, "I'm not playing you," or the medical staff should tell the coach, "You can't play him." You know what I'm saying? Or have that talk with ownership or something. You know what I'm saying? Like there's at some point, like there's such thing as negligence. You know what I'm saying? Like you just negligent to your player because you want to win, or you know, you can be negligent to yourself because you just such a competitor. You know what I mean? And I think right now we've seen it multiple times. We're seeing just yesterday how that can be. You know what I'm saying? Then Chill was once again, Chill, you kept saying that he shouldn't play, and I was like, man, when are they going to get another chance at the championship? You got to go out there. And as soon as it happened, I was like, damn, because I'm saying that because I didn't think it was really going to happen. You know what I mean? So and it happened. So it's
a double-edged sword, though.
Yeah.
If he goes out, Ron, and he gives the performance that you thought he was going to give yesterday, and y'all end up packing them dudes up, he's Willis Reed. But he tears up his Achilles, and now he's out for the rest of the season. He's out for the rest of the playoffs, and he's out for the rest of the season. And was it worth it? Well, does the risk outweigh the reward?
Here's the conversation as far as just like being held up, because the other aspect to it is like they played with the fire in game 6, truthfully, and got away with it, and he was impactful, and they won the game. And then he had more days off going into game 7, I believe, than he had in game 6. So that's a tough call. I don't know if I initially agreed with Mars because it was just, you know, heat of the moment, and, you know, it was like, damn, we probably should have held him out. But at the same time, I'm like, can you really tell an athlete like game 7 finals played in game 6 too, that no, you're not going to play in game 7?
By the way.
And he got busy as well.
On top of that, and they won.
And he looked good.
Yep. But Ron, let me ask you this question. So he doesn't play. How you like y'all chances coming back next year? He doesn't play. He's healthy. You get him next year. How you like y'all next year coming back next year in Indiana? How do you like Haliburton on this Indiana team?
We the favorites.
In the East or in the NBA?
No, in the East. The Thunder would probably be the favorites. Even if the Pacers would have won, the Thunder would probably still come back the favorites. But the Pacers are the favorites in the East. At least they're my favorites.
Now we're in a space where is it possible that y'all may miss the playoffs?
I think they're like a 7th, 8th seed. I think they're like an 8th seed.
So the playing tournament, you could very well miss the playoffs. You could lose in the playing tournament and miss the playoffs.
I think they're for sure a playing team, even with this team that they got minus Hali, and then it's a chance that they miss the playoffs. Yeah. But I know one thing: if I'm Hali, I'm 100% suiting up. Like they're gonna have to tell me you can't play.
But we also glorify this, by the way. Again, this is where propaganda comes into play because I love me a little social discourse. You watch all the movies and history from, Ox. Every movie we've ever seen about athletes, from the Mighty Ducks till now, is athletes playing through injuries. It's like all of us are like we're all romanticizing this idea that like Willis Reed, like we see that clip of that NBA Finals more than the Knicks' actual championship celebration. Like we see Willis Reed running onto the court, and then that's it. Like that's the drama and the lore of being an athlete, in at least in this country, is play through it. Like when Lonnie Rott, when he literally got surgery on his finger to cut off his finger to play in the Super Bowl. Every football player is like, yeah, like 100%. I remember what's the name, the linebacker that played for the Panthers, real talk in 2015, Davis, next to Luke Kuechly. What's his name, bro? What's his name? Davis, something Davis. Anyway,
the only one I knew was Luke.
No, he was like 34, 35, y'all. He had a broken arm. And literally all he just cast it up to get Red Thomas David. He cast it up to play in the Super Bowl because he was like, this is my last opportunity. I don't think I'll ever be here again.
Terrell Owens broke his ankle 8 weeks ago. He had to sign a waiver.
Literally played in the Super Bowl and ball.
He had to sign a waiver.
That's just where we are. I think Mars is correct from an ethical standpoint, from a team side. That yes, absolutely,
it is your job to look after the athlete. It is.
But on the other end, you ain't telling athletes that if I have a chance to win with a Game 7 and I can be this is my life, this is my story, this is who I want to go down as. I went out swinging for my team. They have been conditioned to believe. We have been conditioned to believe. You just gotta play through that mess. And I think Hali was just of that mindset that like, whatever happens, I'm going out swinging.
Well, Swipe, the difference once again is us being removed from that life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe that if any 6 of us were in Tyrese Haliburton's shoes, we're gonna play. I know for a fact I'm playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing can stop me from playing. Like, I'm gonna play. If I can walk, I can hoop. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely that. But when you're in the athlete mindset, you have to think like that. And yeah, you're right. It's been romanticized, and it should be romanticized because that's how you think when you're an athlete. You have to be like that. You gotta feel like you're a gladiator. You know what I'm saying? No matter what. That's how athletes are built.
The MJ flu game. Just another example.
Whatever it is. But then from the other standpoint of it, now that we're sitting here, I'm like, damn, I probably shouldn't play. You know what I mean? Like,
have you ever had a stomach virus before?
Man,
You ever had food poisoning before?
Food poisoning. You name it. I didn't play through a bunch of crap. Headaches, concussions that aren't reported. I've done it all.
Ron, I've had food poisoning and I couldn't stand up.
Right, yeah, it was horrible.
Like I couldn't. The only time I could stand up is to go to the bathroom to throw up. That's it.
He get IVs the whole game. He had to go to the halftime and get IVs to play the game.
This dude played with food poisoning. They literally poisoned him, and he played. That's incredible.
That's crazy.
Boy, and players play with hangovers. Go ahead.
No, I do want to, because Ox made the point about the product suffering, and we're gonna move on and transition. I do want to talk about SJ a little bit too, because in that Oklahoma City team, but Ox made the point about the product suffering due to people being injured. But now I'm sitting here thinking, well, if we go the preventative route, Haliburton still ends up not playing, and the product still ends up suffering due to the Pacers point guard not playing. It's still the same end result as far as from a product perspective.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you have him back for next year, absolutely. But I'm saying for those. So we would have rathered him not play Game 6 and Game 7 of the finals. The product still suffers in lieu of that.
You can't hear you, Ox.
You on
I wasn't saying like that. I was more so talking about from a preventative standpoint, not load managing, a preventative standpoint of, you know what I'm saying, more recovery in between games, like no back to back. So my thought process is that hopefully with less back to backs, you know, a little more spread out, maybe if you have to, maybe 8 or 10 less games for each team or something like that. I'm not sure, but if you would do something like that, then maybe it would make where you wouldn't be in the situation to have to sit Tyrese. You know what I'm saying? Maybe just more preventative measures.
All right, y'all. I got a couple more super chats. Zen and Foz said Dub panel and OKC. How did y'all feel about TJ looking at the ref when Cason Wallace was holding his hand?
That was nuts. That was nuts.
It's egregious.
He's
how
dribbling the
OKC
ball.
is ref.
He got his hand like this. He's holding his wrist, and TJ's looking at the ref like, really? So you're not gonna say anything about this? This is going on right now. Okay.
But the carry on SGA though, like clear elementary
like,
ball all the way up here, and like the referee is 3 feet from him. He just does this,
and then they scored off of that swiper.
Yeah, the Lou Dort 3. Like,
So they scored on both because then
he turned over the ball.
Ended up getting ripped. But that's why I had a problem with it. I felt upset at both. I was like at the ref, like, called a foul. I'm upset with TJ. Like, what are you looking at the ref for? Now you get the ball to you. Got to play basketball. So I was upset with both. I was upset at TJ and I was upset at the ref.
The mindset of the ref even though it's an obvious foul, right? It's an obvious foul, Ox. He got his hand on him. The mindset of the ref is, that's you showing me up. Because I've seen referees like that. That's you showing me up. Even though it's clear right in front of you that he's holding me. And it's a foul. But the ref, it's an ego thing. I'm not going to call that. Play through it. Because you're showing me up. These are refs involving themselves in the game and making themselves a bigger deal than they should be. That's all that was.
Sure, well, the NBA need to involve themselves in his pockets. Find his ass.
Maybe, because at the end of that game, or even at halftime, when he goes and looks at that tape, he's gonna be like, "Damn, I can't believe I missed that. I was in the wrong space." But he wasn't even in the wrong position.
He just didn't call it.
Yeah, he wasn't even in the wrong position. He's standing right there. It was right in front of him. He wasn't even in the wrong position. He just didn't blow the whistle.
Gosh. Punk ass. We just call your own foul.
I've seen people have been complaining about this. I think for me, it's kind of more of a game-to-game basis with OKC, but I do think it can get a little bit crazy, like how they're officiated. The fact that they're an aggressive team the entirety of the year, and so they get away with more stuff than probably any other team in the league as far as being aggressive defensively and just flat out fouling. I mean, they foul a lot. And then you go on the other end of the court, and then it feels like for the other team, you can't touch SGA. So it's a hard watch sometimes when that's happening. But I do think that needs to be addressed by either a coach during the post game or something like that, because it gets crazy. I can't have my best players being hounded by Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Cason Wallace all game. And then we blow breath on Shea, and he's at the free throw line. It's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
MVG said it's absolutely mind-boggling how the NBA has presented the finals, especially when comparing it to the in-season tournament. Imagine some of these moments with the old finals court.
Well, again, the players were slipping on the decal, so they got rid of it. But then they put the YouTube TV ads up because they're trying to make as much money as possible ever since they started virtually inseminating characters onto the court to make money. And then they started doing ads during the free throws, which I can't stand and I hate. But to the point, what do you mean you got rid of player introductions? Like, the fact that we hadn't had them in so long made me forget we had them, chill. Like, I literally forgot in my brain. They used to do that. They used to announce the players and the coaches and all that. I do think they undersell the NBA finals like crazy relative to what they used to. Because, like I said, the NFL, again, it's just one game. The Super Bowl is an all-day event. like all day,
week.
like
all week.
Yeah, like there's no getting around it. They have, and then for 2 weeks, it's all Super Bowl. We had a trade. We haven't even talked about this. I'd love to talk about this at some point. Right now, actually. We had an opportunity. There was a Kevin Durant trade the day of the Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Yo, it would never happen. It would never, ever happen in the NFL. There's just no possible way.
So on Sunday, Ron, on Sunday, on Super Bowl Sunday, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers in his prime, or Aaron Rodgers at the course of his career where he's on the other side of it, he got traded to the Patriots or something like that on Super Bowl Sunday. No. They're not doing that. Not happening.
Yeah, I didn't think they were going to. Y'all remember I kept saying that. He's not getting traded.
But it's definitely a ploy, though. Adam Silver wants to make sure that you know that there's always something going on. He's going to keep you engaged, and he's going to keep you on the hook. He already talked about expansion coming up this summer, that we're going to have a conversation about it, which I want to make sure I'm clear on, that I don't want to hear nothing about no Las Vegas or no Baltimore or no Kansas City, or I don't want to hear nothing about them until I hear about Seattle first. But Adam Silver has made it clear that NBA business is always going on when there's NBA business going on, like the NBA Finals. He's going to keep you on the hook.
Philboy7 said, question, if you prolong the season with 82 games, then how long will the offseason be? Be for teams to go deep into the playoffs?
Well, I think some people have suggested they start the season around December, but I'm not saying go that far. But I do think like the offseason is quite long relative to other leagues in the NBA. Because remember, the offseason is, for a lot of teams, the offseason starts in April, like the end of April, May, and then it goes through June. So May, June, July, August, September. Season starts in October. Like, that's a long time. That's a long offseason. So I'm saying that, like, if you take regular season, then you move it to 5 or 6. I'm saying even if you just add an extra month in there somewhere, I'm sure you can make it up. Again, I'm also not an NBA schedule maker, so I want to concede that I don't have all the answers, but I do think there's a way for you to manufacture more rest for the players, would be my argument. But if I think they could put a team together to figure that out, to do the most advantageous thing for the players possible.
Football plays less games, and I think they got the longest offseason. I mean, it's 7 months between the Super Bowl and opening night. They don't do that nowhere else.
Yeah, September.
Yeah. It's 7 months between opening night in the Super Bowl, and
I mean, you can't play a lot of football games. Oh my goodness.
No, you can't.
Yeah,
sure.
you can only play.
Sure.
17's a lot. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Which the players agree
but
to.
Also, the NBA doesn't want to compete with the NFL for too many months.
They really don't.
That's the other thing.
Mm-hmm. So. We all know that football is king. I'll be lying if much as I'm a basketball head. We all know that football is king. There's a reason why the NBA schedules their games when they have games on Sunday or when they have games on Monday. There's a reason why they schedule their games around pro football. If you notice, there's very little games on Sunday in November and in December in the afternoon. And the reason why is because of football. Yeah, we don't do that.
Chill. Football is not king. It's just it's the scarcity principle.
Just a bunch of yapping from you right now. I'm not gonna lie.
It's the scarcity principle.
No, it makes way more money. Wait
a minute, Sniper. I'm listening to this. What's the scarcity principle, Ron?
If I have 2 chicks and I see one of them every day, and I only see one of them on Sunday, I'm probably gonna like the one that I only see on Sunday more, and I'm going to look forward to her more because
diamonds are more precious than almost anything else you're saying. Yeah, I agree. Diamonds are more precious than almost any other metal.
I mean, I actually do agree with that, Ron, but you're just explaining why it's king, though. I mean, it still makes it
king.
It is. It's literally what define king? Like more watchable, more eyes, more money.
Ron, are you saying that if we were able to see more football, because just so you know, Ron, it's not just played on Sunday. It's played on Monday. It's played on Thursday. That's going on, Ron. Just so we clear.
And you still see that one team,
right?
Those 2 teams, you still only see them once that week.
Even if that's the case, it's still more football. And it's not like it's only one team that you like. There's other people who like other teams.
But I agree with you that like the scarcity thing, but chill, it still makes 3-4 times as much money in eyes. Like
we just saw it swipe on Christmas. What is the Super Bowl doing?
And chill, to the point, all these small market BS that happens in the NBA, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills that's a show every single game. The NFL, I don't give a damn where the team is. You're getting marketed like you're the LA Lakers. in the
Every
NFL.
week.
Everybody does. Like the story is way different in the NFL.
Ron, can you imagine if they had a football team in Salt Lake City? Like if they had a football, they don't play football in Salt Lake because they ain't got nothing going on Sunday. But if they had a football team in Utah,
I'd go.
It would be a big deal.
That's because football games are like
Salt Lake games.
They're like it's like Christmas. You know what I'm saying? You know, it happens once in a while. So of course it's a big deal. You know what I mean? It's just, that's what it is. It's no big deal. Like they got Sunday.
So coping up here. I'm not gonna lie to you. But
football isn't football. I know that you love the game, right? Football isn't super hype because it's such a great sport to watch. It's because my team will play here against this team once every 4 years.
What do you mean? It's probably the best sport to watch, respectfully. I mean, I don't mean no disrespect.
I think hockey probably clears, but
hockey's a great sport to watch too. Baseball sucks.
The violence of football is what attracts people too. Don't leave that part.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's like it's dope. It's dope and all, but it's like it's like a holiday. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just we're amped to play them. Them are rivals. We see them once a year, or we see them. You know, it's the scarcity, like what Ron said. It's very rare. It's just a performance. It's a show. It's dope though. I'm not trying.
And the games are amazing to watch, though. Ox. It's a beautiful game to watch.
Yes, it is.
Sometimes
watch
the offensive lines clashing. I gotta look at Quentin Nelson going against Aaron Donald and figure out the gap scheme. Yes. Like, oh my goodness! Like let's do this.
Roping each other.
George Kittle running it outright, catching it, going 60 yards, breaking 3 tackles, doing the ultimate warrior for the first down. Jamar Chase getting the ball in the end zone, and no. You get Victor Cruz.
Football doesn't compare to basketball as far as that.
Okay, you're getting your line. I don't know.
Playing and watching football isn't even in the same tier as basketball.
You don't get no flopping in the NFL.
I'm a basketball.
You see LeBron. You see LeBron. Hold on. Wait, hold on. You see, hey, chill. Remember when LeBron got pushed into the turf? Pushed into the floor by Muhammad, and then laid on the ground talking about, what happened? Ran from Isaiah Stewart. That don't happen in the NFL.
That 100% happens in the NFL. How many times have I seen an offensive or defensive lineman get in an offensive lineman's face and bait him?
Nah,
and
bro.
Stop it,
bro. Stop it.
For
a 15-yard penalty? For a 15-yard penalty.
Right.
Okay, so what? Every so often, 15-yard. It's not flopping. It's strategic. You get a 15-yard penalty for doing that.
It's strategic.
I'm talking about during the play. Hold on. During the play, nobody flops though. There's no way to flop in football during the play unless you're a quarterback. That's it. Unless you're a quarterback. That's because of the new rule. Mahomes flops out of bounds and gets criticized for it. And gets called being the
all I want to say, Swipe, is that you were born with all this brain, all this potential, and you decide to run into each other for a living. like. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. Y'all decided to run into each other. You could have done so much more.
Hey, well, Swiper, I know one thing. Since football is so entertaining, well, guess what? PC football coming back next month. Since it's so entertaining, I bet you that your show that you're going to be on talking about football isn't going to be more entertaining than any basketball show. We don't even have to compare it to the panel. We're going to have another basketball show.
There's no real narrative talk in football. Like, what do you want?
Wait, now it's no narrative.
Wait, hold on. Did y'all see what real talk? Did y'all see what real talk?
Yes, it is.
Did y'all see what real talk did as soon as we changed the subject and I brought up the Lakers? Why are you talking about the Lakers? If he was a Cincinnati Bengals fan, there's no doing that. There's no doing that. It's just like, oh, yeah, I agree. The Bengals should be up higher. Ron, you just glazed Hali. Talking about, the team looks worse without their best player. Yeah, the Ravens look worse without Lamar Jackson. We move on. You can't run the same scheme. We would just move on. But Ron, you got to turn it in. He's not TJ McConnell. He's not this and that. He's a clear top 15 player. I'm not moving that to Lamar. Everybody knows he's the top 4 quarterback in the sport. There's nothing to do about that. I don't got to lie and glaze. There's no glazing in the NFL. You play and you win and you work. You can see you the best. Who can you glaze? Glaze somebody in the NFL. Glaze somebody on the Cowboys real quick.
Do I need to introduce you to a Cowboy fan? Do I need to do that?
Glaze, what can you glaze? What can you glaze? They're not even good. What can you glaze?
But every year, okay, Dak Prescott is leading us to the promised land. Every year we make
top 10 quarterback in the sport.
Next year, if I have to introduce you to a Cowboy fan, you want to talk about glazing? Give me a break. There's so much glazing going on in pro football. So much. Aaron Rodgers is still playing, and Aaron Rodgers can barely throw past 40 yards. and they still think that he's the same Aaron Rodgers from 4 years ago. That was a disaster with the Jets. But he's going to Pittsburgh, so now he's going to Pittsburgh. This might be the difference in them getting to the AFC Championship in Pittsburgh. Give me a break.
Super chat. We're getting off. We got 20. They got 36. We're getting off topic.
We're not getting off topic. I'm glad we right here because you guys gonna have your little show coming up here real soon. Before that show starts, I just want to extend a bet to anybody here on the panel.
What's the bet?
Chill, you got the 49ers. Swiper, I'm sure you got the Jacksonville Jaguars or something. But if you want to pick
the Jacksonville what, Ron?
If you want the Jacksonville Jaguars, but if you want to pick your little team up there, what do you guys call? Oh yeah, Broncos. If you want to pick those horses, I'll give it to you. Real talk. I know you're probably a Cowboys fan, so if you want to choose them, I will put any amount of money that the Seahawks will be better than all of those teams.
The Seahawks.
Mars, if you want to pick,
you don't even know who. You don't know one thing about Sam Darnold, and you just yapping. You don't even know who your starting receivers. I mean, let me see. Who are your starting receivers right now? And your tight end. Who's your starting receiver and tight end right now? Just name him, please. I just want to hear this.
JSN. That's all you
What's his name? What's his name?
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Okay.
Nigga. That's what I'll call him. It's Jigba, nigga. All right.
And who's your number two?
Matter.
Who's your number two?
We got Jackson Smith and Jigba.
He don't even know who he signed. He don't even know who he signed this offseason.
Who did he sign? Who did they sign? Anyway,
you don't even know who he signed this year.
We got Sam Darnold and we got Jackson. That's all that matters. All right.
Mars, you've been quite silent today. Are you in a stoop of a mood? What's with you today?
I spoke before you came up. Congratulations, OKC. Yeah.
So Mars took one shot in the game today. That's what he did. So Mars done for the day.
Oh, well, Mars is actually about to get brought to the forefront of the panel right now. Because we got to talk about this Kevin Durant trade. Kevin Durant is now a Houston Rocket, in case you don't know. And Jalen Green is now on the Suns, along with Dylan Brooks and a first rounder and 5 second-round picks. But Mars, talk to me about this lineup right here, or if you think it should be a different lineup, however. But how do you feel about Kevin Durant in Houston?
I think it was a good deal for Houston. There's still questions, but you got Kevin Durant for a very cheap price, in my opinion. A number 10 pick that likely wasn't even have been in your rotation. You practically replaced Dylan Brooks on the wing with your young guys getting more minutes in Jabari and Tari Eason. And then you replaced your inconsistent perimeter scorer with maybe the most consistent perimeter scorer outside of Shea in the NBA. I think that's a good deal for Houston. Now, there's still questions, but for that cheap of a price, I think you live with the results. For Phoenix, I don't know what Phoenix got going on, but I think Houston are, for me, firmly the second best team in the West. That's where I stand on them. I still think their floor is just as high as it was last year, if not higher. With the defense, the rebounding, the versatility, you've now become a better shooting team. You've become a better offensive team just with the addition of Kevin Durant. And then you get just the internal development of Amen Thompson, who I think will be in all-star contention this year. I don't know if he'll make it, but I think he'll be in contention. Şengün, another year of growth. Hopefully he can get back to where he was offensively in 2024. And then obviously you had Kevin Durant, you got Cam Whitmore, maybe can get his way into the rotation. Reed Shepherd is still, you don't know what he's going to be. He still has a lot of potential. Jabari looks really good in that postseason. Hopefully he can push on with Kevin Durant's tutelage. I think Houston are really good. I think they're comfortably the second best team in the West. So I think this was a great trade.
If teams are so quick to make a move because they feel like they're close to winning the NBA championship, right? Let's this Houston team, for example, they didn't make this trade to get Kevin Durant to make the playoffs again. We're already at that space, right? They made this trade, so they think that they're close. If teams are quick to do this sort of thing, why aren't teams just as advantageous about making a trade to blow it up? Like, you pushed all your chips to the front of the table, Phoenix, when you got Kevin Durant and when you got Bradley Beal. You pushed all your chips to the front of the table. This thing was a disaster. What are we holding on to? Why is Book still there? If I'm the Detroit Pistons, I'm picking up the telephone and I'm checking their temperature on him.
How can the Suns tank if they don't have their picks?
Well, see, that's the thing. But that's the thing, Mars. It's not necessarily about them tanking more than it is about them calling people to ask for. I need my draft picks back. I know you got my draft picks, Mars, right? But there's other teams that have draft picks too, and I do have. I got the number 10 pick from. I got the number 10 pick from Houston. I still have Devin Booker over here. With me having Devin Booker over here, I can use that to get a pick
Devin
or
doesn't
2
want to
picks
leave.
back. I still have that. We aren't going anywhere with this group. So I got to pick up the telephone and I got to call some people, because even though, Mars, again, and I may be repeating myself, you do have my first round draft picks in Houston, but there's other teams in the league that have draft picks, and I got to get those picks back.
But Devin said he doesn't want to leave though. Chill. So how can you force a player to leave that is a homegrown player that you don't want?
Jalen Green ain't want to leave Houston.
Not only did Jalen Green not want to leave Houston, KD didn't want to leave Phoenix, but it was obvious that they would.
But he did want to leave though. Like he actively
by the end of the season, KD wanted to leave.
And he said, and you heard what he said, they didn't want me here. So of course they didn't want. If they wanted him there, he would have stayed. There's a reason why he left. So if Devin Booker doesn't want to leave Phoenix, okay, I get that part. But this is business, and in the end,
you just said that, and then you said this is business. Who gives a damn if Devin Booker want to stay or not? If they believe it's for the best of their interests, trade Devin Booker.
That's not how the NBA works.
That's the same thing like how I feel about Milwaukee with Giannis. I don't care if you want to stay Giannis. If it's for the best interest of our organization, the NBA.
That's not how the NBA works.
If Giannis retires tomorrow, we still gonna have to draft somebody this summer. We still gonna have to roll out a competent roster or as good a roster as we can. Like we can't hold up our organization for one player, as good as you may be,
just because he wants to stay. And I can appreciate the logic that he wants to stay, Swipe, for sure. He does want to stay. But with him being here, that's an asset that I have.
But you don't do that for 10-year assets typically. Like 8 to 10-year assets, you don't typically do that for a reason. Because again, you have to, much as the Thunder are, again, half of what you do is setting a culture. And so you don't want to, if you have a player that's been there for as long as they have, like Devin Booker, that is as entrenched in the organization as he is and in the city, you don't want to just rip the heart of the city out like that, especially in that kind of situation. Devin he's chosen to allow for Phoenix to reload around him. But I think to your point, absolutely, you do want to have, ideally you'd be able to just get rid of Devin Booker and say we're just going to start completely over. But at some point you do have to manage the asset. You have to manage the person in the building. And I think teams have to look at that more than almost anything else. But I think they should have traded Kevin Durant maybe a little bit, sooner than that. But I think the Luka situation is kind of throwing people a little bit. That's just typically not how organizations handle players like that are built in-house. You typically give them a certain kind of runway within your organization.
Do you think that they get a better deal if they move off of KD at the trade deadline?
Possibly. I mean, depending on who was out there that was looking for him. I mean, there were plenty. Apparently, there were 5 or 6 teams that were trying to trade for him. But KD has, at this point, enough leverage to say, I don't want to go somewhere, and they're not going to trade him there just because.
Yeah.
That's why Houston got him for so cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually think, it would have been even cheaper if you wait for the trade deadline, and then there's Kevin Durant's coming out and saying, no, I only want to go here, and now you only have a certain amount of time, and he's made it public that he only wants to go to one place. It might have even been a bigger fleece, in my opinion. Something I do want to touch on about the Rockets and their starting 5, Mars. I'm seeing people saying the starting 5 is going to be Fred, Amin, KD, Jabari, Sengun. I don't like that. I don't think KD or Jabari should be playing the 3 personally. I feel like they kind of have one true POA defender in that starting 5 in Amin. I think they need another defender that can guard 2s and maybe 3s. And I would also bench Jabari, and a player that if I'm Houston, a player I'm looking to try to acquire during the offseason is Quentin Grimes. I think Quentin Grimes would be a really good addition to this team. And I think if you go Fred, Quentin, Amin, KD, Sengun, I think that kind of fits better, and I think you can be better on the perimeter as far as defensively than having Bari and KD at that 3-4. I kind of don't like that. I don't.
Did I miss something though?
Talking about KD in the draft.
Yeah, no. How is this a fleece?
No,
I
nobody-
agree.
Oh yeah,
Who got
I seen your tweet. Yeah,
Forget that, Mars. Ignore that. How is this a fleece?
It's not
I mean,
Ox.
they got Kevin Durant for what? Who did they trade? Jalen Green,
Dylan Brooks, and another
Dylan
10
Brooks, and a
Hey, man, the
pick?
Suns came up. Y'all say what y'all want to. The Suns came up.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all still believing in
What y'all
Jalen
want?
Green?
No, it's about
I
what
do.
they got. Jalen Green wasn't the only thing. He is a part of what they got. Jalen Green might turn out to be the least of what they get. You don't know what this number 10 pick's going to turn into. Dylan Brooks as a certified starter next to Jalen Green or next to Devin Booker, depending on what they get from shit. They might package up Jalen Green in this number 10 pick and go get something solid. Dylan Brooks has shown that he is a starting caliber player on a very good playoff team with Memphis and with the Rockets. Like that,
Ron, I'm in the
if you ask me,
minority.
they came up.
I'm in the minority. I want to take that 10 pick. I want to call up the Clippers and I want to check their temperature on Norman Powell, and I want to let Van Fleet move, and I want to give the ball to Amin Thompson. I think he's going to be better next season.
What does that mean?
I don't think Amin's
a point guard.
handle is there yet, though.
And that's
Who
what
they
the
gonna play
summer is
point guard?
for. That's what the summer is for.
Men apparently.
Yes, that's what the summer is for.
Houston want Reed Shepherd to be their point guard. That's what
They would
the
like
goal.
that, yes.
Yeah, that's not next season. Fred VanVleet is there to stay, but they want Reed Shepherd to be their long-term point guard and a men to be their do-it-all wing. That's the vision. I also agree with that vision. And
What
in
do you
terms
think
of
about the 3-4 though that I was talking about?
I understand the concern of Jabari and KD as your 3-4. One of them has to be the 3. I don't like Jabari defending in space on the perimeter, and likelihood is that's what he's going to be asked to do, considering KD is pretty much a 4 at this point. So I think there's concerns there. I do think like you're maximizing the rim protection, which is a good thing. You got Jabari, KD, Amen, Şengün took some steps there. So like you got like everyone's 6'7" plus, right? And men 6'7", like Fred notwithstanding, and then everyone else is like 6'10", 6'11". So like you're kind of like going anti-small ball in a sense, which I think could be unique. I would think about going with Tari Eason in the starting lineup.
I was thinking
just for
about
like just so you can have the 2 like elite POA guys, but Tari just makes so many like low IQ decisions that I don't know if that's what you want to go with. So there's drawbacks. I mean, I think they got time to figure out what they want to do. I would expect day one Jabari to start, but if they want to pivot, they can. That's the good thing about this team. They got a lot of flexibility with what they can do. The only guys who I'm like certain are going to start are KD, Amen, Şengün. Well, 4 of them I think are certain going to start.
The fact
So
that you was able to
fifth
hold
one,
on
I
to
don't
those
know.
guys, that's a big deal, Mars. The fact that you was able to hold on to those guys and get KD, to keep Jabari,
That's why it's a good trade.
keep
Because
Tari,
you didn't give up much.
to
Like,
keep Amin to keep Amin and to keep Sengun, and you get KD. That was a big deal.
Well,
Do
and
you think the
also,
Rockets
too,
are done because they held on to so many assets? Do you think they make another move?
they don't have to be done though.
They can't.
they can make marginal moves. I don't expect like a blockbuster. I don't expect that, but like marginal moves, like a Quentin Grimes, for example, or just someone else who can shoot off the bench, or someone who can also handle a ball handling responsibility. Like that, those would be the moves I'd be looking at. I don't know who those players are. I couldn't tell you, but that would be what I would expect. Like maybe you do call up Brooklyn and look at a Cam Johnson. Maybe you do call up a New Orleans and call up for Trey Murphy. Like maybe those are the moves you're looking to see. Just what's the asking price on these guys, these wings that can drive a closeout, shoot the ball, space the floor, all of those things. That would be something I'd look at. Not let's look at Giannis. Like you don't need that. But
Would you be cool with like a KCP type move? One of those type guys.
a KCP archetype, yeah. KCP,
Right.
maybe not. But
Is Matherin in that?
archetype.
Is Matherin in that KCP arc like a younger? Is he a younger version?
I
of
don't know.
KCP?
Matherin's a weird archetype. I don't know what archetype he is, but he's unique, I guess. I wouldn't. Ime Udoka likes high IQ guys, and Benedict Matherin doesn't exactly strike me as that. So I wouldn't go for him if I was Houston, but Benedict Mathurin isn't the KCP archetype to me.
That's why I brought up
Quentin
Quentin Grimes, because that was kind of I was thinking like a two-way wing 3-and-D archetype kind of
Real talk. You got one that's over there. He's sitting right there.
Rook deal too.
No, he's sitting right there. He helped y'all in the playoffs a lot. He helped y'all all season. He started for y'all this year. Tari Eason.
Yeah, we already said
that.
I'm saying like you. I mean, but we're talking about other options. I think you guys as guys right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not saying like I actually think Quentin Grimes would be an amazing pickup, but I'm starting the Terra Twins. I'm unleashing Amin Thompson and Tari Easton on the.
So you're benching Jabari.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I'm like, those are
I
two
want
of
to
the best
bitch Jabari
perimeter
too. I'm
defenders
not
in
gonna
the league.
lie. I'm kind of.
Well, I mean, he was on the
I
bench
want
for the
Jabari.
second part of the season after he
Yeah,
broke his hands. So I mean, he's used to it. He looked good in the playoffs. I mean, it's hard. Like, these guys are so young. It's hard to project the improvement. Like, if Jabari comes back and he can pass the ball and dribble, all of a sudden that's a whole new player. But if he comes back and he's still just this 6'11" forward who can't put the ball on the ground, and really all he can do is hit a turnaround jumper or catch and shoot threes, you're kind of limited in the utility. So it all depends on how they develop and what they look like going into the new season, which is obviously hard to project. But I would expect Jabari to start. But if he hasn't grown in the ways that I think Houston need him to, I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the bench. But he doesn't strike me as someone who is going to like.
Is Kevin Durant supposed to fix all the half-court offense issues?
Not all of them. No.
The scoring, though.
But he does address some of the issues, but he doesn't solve everything. No, but he's an upgrade over Jalen Green for sure.
I don't know if Kevin Durant can still carry that load. Like,
it's not really about. It's not like their threshold. And see, this is also something we just kind of saw OKC, right? What Houston is betting on is the fact that we can just be so good defensively that we just need to kind of manufacture. When they play Golden State, to me, I call it the series the race to 100. Basically, we just need to get to around 105, 110 points, and we're probably good. I don't think that. I don't think Houston's going to be some great offense next year because Kevin Durant's there. But I do think the offense will be good enough to, Didn't y'all just get worse on defense? Not by much.
No.
I don't think so.
Why not, Mars? Why are you so emphatic about that, Mars?
No, because they've replaced their worst defensive starter with Kevin Durant.
But you also lost one. But wait a minute.
You can replace him with Tari then. Or replace him with Jabari.
So you're replacing Dylan Brooks' value.
They're already on the team. So
but you're supplementing Dylan Brooks' loss of value. That's what you guys are alluding to, with Tari a boost in minutes, Jabari a boost in minutes, and then you're replacing your worst defensive starter with Kevin Durant. You did not get worse on defense.
Your worst defensive starter.
You 100% got worse on defense, but
I don't agree.
Not by far. It's not.
I think they got better.
Yeah, I think they got better. Like, I disagree with you guys. I don't think Dylan Brooks is as good defensively as you guys do. I've been saying that all year. I don't think he is. Jalen Green was by far their worst defensive starter, and you've replaced him with Kevin Durant, who I view as a legitimately good defender.
Right.
So, yeah, I think they got better.
So I'm not talking about their starting lineup, that their starting lineup get worse defensively. I'm talking about them as a team that they get worse defensively. That's what I'm.
Yeah, but that's why I brought up Tari's.
That's what I'm saying, Mars. Okay, so you already had Tari, you had Jabari, and both of those guys can defend on the perimeter. Now, to take Dylan Brooks out of the lineup, right? To take Dylan Brooks out of the lineup, who I did think was one of your better perimeter defenders. You already had those guys. Now you take Dylan Brooks out. So essentially, what you're telling me is that with those guys in the lineup, we don't even need Dylan Brooks. Yes. We never really needed him in the first place.
I didn't say that, but. No, I never said that point. But yeah, now they don't need Dylan Brooks. That's why
because you got Kevin Durant.
You got Kevin Durant.
Because you got Kevin
Durant.
Now
I think Tari and those guys are ready for the boost in minutes. Tari coming into the season was coming in hurt. He was still missed time because he was dealing with some leg injury. I can't remember what it even was, but it was something weird. like you needed Dylan Brooks because Tari wasn't ready for that extra workload. Now I think Tari is ready. I also think Dylan Brooks was contributed to Houston turning things around in terms of the culture shift and the toughness and that mental fortitude that he brought. So the Houston Rockets needed Dylan Brooks, but I don't think they need Dylan Brooks now. And that's why I think they're a better defensive team now, because you've replaced your weak link with another strength. And the guys who weren't ready due to injuries or being too young or whatever the case, now I think are ready to fill that void. And I think Tari was a better defender than Dylan Brooks last year. So
if you think that jump in defense is going to be that, what you think it is this season, why am I ridiculous to think that Amen Thompson as a ball handler, as a lead guard, can be better next season?
I think he can be better. It's just about how good can he be
in terms of a jump, because this jump that you're talking about with
I never said jump. I just said better. I didn't say jump.
That's what it sounded like you just said to me. Sounds like you said, because we're moving off of Dylan Brooks, and because we're moving off of Dylan Brooks, you think these guys are ready. And if these guys are ready, that suggests that there's going to be a leap in these guys from this.
There's only so much they can leap. They were already one of the best defenses in the league. Like, unless they become
so now we're taking.
Tari and the men don't have to get better. Like if they come back and defend the way in Jabari, if they defend the way they were defending last year, their defense is better.
Like the Rockets, Clippers, and Magic were all close in terms of defense. OKC kind of ran away with it, but those three teams, so the second to fourth, maybe even the fifth defense, if you want to throw Boston in there, were all close. Houston, in my opinion, like all they've done is maybe now they're the second best defense in the league. Like not by far and away, but maybe that's where they climb to. Like it's not a major jump. Like it's not a major jump. Like they were second for large portions of last season. Then they kind of slipped towards the end of the season. I think Jabari being out kind of had a bit to do with that. But like this is a team that was already elite on defense. Me thinking they got better doesn't mean now I think they're going to be OKC on defense. I just think they're better than they were last year. Like,
unless KD's just horrible, then
there's been no evidence of KD being a bad defender.
None.
So
Zero.
I wouldn't buy that. Maybe, I mean, he is old. So.
No.
And obviously, well, not obviously, some people may not think they got better on offense, but I think they got better on defense.
I think that's blatantly obvious. They got better on offense.
Yeah, so like I think this is tremendous for them. And then also too, like real talk, I know you saying other players come in, which I don't think Houston's done, but even if they were, this means a boost in minutes for Cam Whitmore as well, and I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. Cam, come in and go crazy. Come in off the bench and do what you do best.
I've always seen Cam as far as like when I first saw him playing, I'm like, man, that's a little Jaylen Brown. That kind of who he like reminds me of.
That's why I said
Jaylen Brown was young, but he just plays dumb basketball. I don't know if Ime's going to trust him, and Ime is quick to bench you if he doesn't trust you. It's going to be determined on
can't get benched, but everyone else,
it's going to be determined on if he can improve his IQ and just his temperament. I do see Cam frequently frustrated and visibly frustrated or pouting and stuff like that. I don't think you can do any of that kind of stuff like with Ime. You need to be able to. You got to be coachable. You got to learn from your mistakes and be a better.
Yeah, I mean, you 100% right. And Ime's a good coach, so I could see Ime helping him improve some of those things. But I just know he's a tremendous talent. That's all I know. And actually, Morris, y'all brought up Benedict Mathurin. I see some similarities too in terms of just how when they get the ball, I'm putting my head down and I'm trying to make something happen. So I know you said that that's not really Ime archetype, but
I mean, Cam has shown he's not really the Ime archetype based on the minutes. So it's not. They got to work together. I think Cam's talent, I think, is undeniable, but the flaws are also glaring in terms of the awareness on defense, in terms of the tunnel vision on offense, in terms of just like he'll break plays from time to time. If he doesn't get the ball, you'll see visible frustration. If he gets benched, you'll see visible frustration. So like he's young. He's like 20. Like, so there's things that he needs to work through. I think there's also just Houston were trying to win last year. So like Ime didn't really have time for like Reed and Cam, their growing pains. And now are they going to have time again this year? I don't know. I expect to see Cam and Reed in Summer League. I don't know if that's confirmed, but I would expect to see them there.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be there.
Hopefully you just see like the development. I'm not saying Cam's going to turn into an S-tier playmaker overnight, but just someone who, when he gets the ball, the first instinct isn't ultimately just run to the rim and hope for something. Just being smarter with his decisions, because he's that strong, that fast, that athletic. He can shoot. Like, he has the tools to be a really good player, especially off the bench for this Houston team. So hopefully he can figure it out. I expect Reed to be in the rotation from day one, though. I think Reed will. I think he may trust Reed. And I think he's shown what he can do with the higher minutes in certain games, whether that be the OKC game or when he, like, towards the end of the season. When Reed gets minutes, like, he's a good player. He's a very smart player too. It's just about being stronger and figuring things out.
Your man Whitmore, he turns 21 next month. Mars, yeah, he turns 21 next month, and
oh man,
he wants more of a role on the crew. I think to be honest with you, I think he would welcome a trade, especially somewhere where he knows where he's going to play.
Yeah, all in all,
I do think Ron. I want to say this real quick, Ron. I do think Kevin Wayne is starting just to get ridiculously underrated.
I said Kevin Durant is still elite, and I have people disagreeing with me. So
I don't know.
There are 10 players in the game better than him.
I just had to do a video about Chris Broussard was on his show talking about how JDUB is better than Kevin Durant. Have we lost sight of who Kevin Durant is? Kevin Durant
someone tagged me in that too.
Best scores in the whole world. He averaged 25 on 64 true shooting this past year. The only other player to do so
use analytics
on such volume is Nikola Jokic. Shea was there with 63.7, but the 64, it was
Shea
only Kevin Durant and Nikola Jokic. Kevin Durant is still one of the 5 best scorers in the world. He's still a plus defender. He's going to be a great player. He's one of the 10 best players in the world still to this day. You can't name 10 players.
Yeah, well, J-Dub's better than him. J-Dub's better than him. So.
Yeah, but real talk, KD couldn't even take Devin Booker to the playoffs.
Well, the reason they didn't make the playoffs was actually because those two missed too many games. The injuries are the bigger concern than their ability to actually win games. When both of them played together, they were actually a playoff.
But hold on though. Saying that J-Dub can come into the season next season better than Kevin Durant, that's not crazy, bro.
You will be saying that J-Dub is one of the 10 best players in the league.
No, we're not.
Do you think that's
why,
happening?
Chill?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying
because he's not close to that before he wins the NBA championship. That's why.
Well, he just averaged 23 and 5.
But he wasn't close to that previous to this swipe. But
based on the logic, that man did make All NBA 13, which would mean he's a top 15 player. Which means he was
playing at a top 15 level.
So if you play at a top 15 level and then improve again, what's the next level?
Okay, so improve again.
That same conversation about if you're not close to a guy for 2 seasons, you can't be better than him. You know what I'm saying? Let's not turn into that.
Wait, what'd you say?
What I'm saying is that if J-Dub is somewhere between, let's say, 18 and 23,
and Kevin
Durant is somewhere in between 12 and 15. You know what I'm saying? These 2 players are closer than you say on any given night. You know what I'm saying?
But KD isn't 12 through 15 though. He's like 8 to 11.
He just proved it to you though that he was 12 to 15.
How did he? How? You look like you're third team troll bag. So
third team All NBA.
Yeah.
He just averaged 23 and 5 on elite defense in the NBA Finals.
Sure.
He had a 40 ball in the NBA Finals. Shea didn't even have one of those, mind you. And then on top of that, he was very good versus the Wolves. He was the best player on the Thunder in the Memphis series. Objectively, he was. He was very good early in the.
I guess.
You said what?
I've seen Caruso against Memphis. But...
Oh, well, again, I'm not trolling right now. So he was good also in the Denver series in multiple games. So you go from a top 15 player in a regular season, you go to average 23 and 5 and elite defense in the NBA Finals, including a 40 ball. And then on top of that, you had a series in which you were the best player on the floor in the Memphis Grizzlies. You were good in the Nuggets series defensively, and then offensively you were up and down. And then you were really elite defensively in the Wolves series. Offensively, you were up and down. Sounds like a good argument to me.
You're clearly trolling. Again, I want the audience to know that it wasn't but 2 weeks ago, Swiper was twerking it up on the timeline because he wanted Kevin Durant on the Denver Nuggets.
I like Kevin Durant.
He wanted be quiet.
I really like Kevin Durant. What does that got to do with Kevin Durant?
And so now that KD's not available for the Nuggets, all of a sudden,
I can't make an argument. No, wait, hold on. I can't make an argument for why Jalen Williams is a top 15 player.
So wait, let me pull a Swipe and cover him.
So Swipe.
Do you think that?
Well, number one,
J-Dub
your
is
voice
better than
isn't
KD?
majestic enough to do that. That's the first thing. The
First
second
off,
thing
my
is,
voice is
what
great.
does this have to
I've
do with
always
Kevin
gotten
Durant?
told that.
I
always
like
been
Kevin
told that.
Durant. He's a great player. He's one of my favorite players. What does it got to do with J-Dub?
Is he better than is J-Dub going to be better than Kevin Durant? Is he better than Kevin Durant right now?
I didn't make the argument, so it's not my argument to make.
I'm asking you to answer the question. Is J-Dub better than KD?
I have no idea. Just not my question. I was
Wow.
giving
Well,
him
one's,
an argument
one's,
why he's top 15.
one's getting better, one's getting worse. So I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's crazy. One's getting better, one's getting worse. One's progressing, one's regressing. I don't think it's crazy.
This is why I don't think it's crazy. It's because like we can talk all that better shit all we want. Like we do this all the time. Who's more impactful though? And it's like we could say that KD is better. We could do that. I don't know if he provides as much impact on a 48-minute game as J-Dub. I just don't. Like just because he scores better, and we know this. I don't know why you guys are about to do backflips. We know this. He scores better. Cool.
No,
I know I'm getting
know
elite
this.
level defense.
We don't know
from J-Dub.
this.
I know I'm getting elite level. What do you mean? We don't know this. We do know Kevin Durant scores better.
When we started this, has everybody lost their
Have some
mind?
decorum.
Real talk. Are we really up here having a conversation about
I mean,
Jalen Williams
I'm
being
gonna
a
be
better
honest.
bucket getter
I'm
than
gonna be honest.
KD? Is
Can
that
we?
what I'm
We're
is that what I'm
not.
listening to
No,
right now?
we're
We're
not.
not.
If we're
I wanna make sure I'm not losing my
gonna
mind,
do
'cause I swear to
J-Dub
God,
versus
this
Kevin
shit's
Durant,
taking
can we
years
just
off my
do
life.
super chats? Like,
We're
can we
not.
just give
I'm
people
not.
their money's
Look,
worth?
I'm not.
I just
I'm
wanna make
not
sure that I'm not
comparing.
losing
Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. There is some situations and teams where Kevin Durant wouldn't be as impactful as J-Dub, and I don't think that's crazy to say.
Okay,
With the
cool.
elite level
What's the
defense
point?
that he provides, and still being a very good offensive player, a fast break demon, that's not crazy to say.
So this last last season, right? Just last season, KD was second team All Pro. He was clearly a top 10 player in the game.
Yeah, he was better. He was the second best small forward in basketball last year, and you
Right.
yelled at me.
Well, he plays the four.
Okay, so
No, he was the second best forward in basketball. So, well,
Right.
sure. He was the second best. Whatever. You know what, Mars? Never mind. Go ahead, show.
Cool.
So
KD was in MVP talks before he went down.
When
The
This
Suns
year?
were like 13-1 with KD
13-2.
on the floor. As soon as he got hurt, the
13-2.
Suns season
The
was
Suns went
over.
3. I think the Suns went 3-17.
3-17.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I think
It was
KD
Yeah,
was
we're
spectacular.
we're
sitting here
questioning.
talking about KD.
This is what. Yeah, this is why I'm not listening to the
who
impact
is
stuff. Like,
actually
I'm
saying
not
that?
listening.
I think Ron said that. So just know Ron's in his bag right now. I argued Kevin
I never
Durant to
said he was
chill.
better.
I
just said
argued
there's
that
situations where
Kevin
J-Dub would be
Durant
more impactful.
is still an elite player to chill. And Chill and I got an argument about this months ago because we started talking about the winning and losing stuff. And so everything you said, Real Talk, I said the Chill months ago. So I'm on the Kevin Durant bandwagon. I'm also saying that.
Okay, first
Let me
of
just
all,
say, they'll be better. He'll make you much better.
Ox, just so you know, Swiper has a very unique way of putting words together. This wasn't about Kevin Durant months ago. This was about Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum. That's what this was about. So those two things are not the same thing. Jalen Williams,
that was last summer.
And Kevin Durant and Jason Tatum. Those two things are not.
That was last summer. That wasn't early this year.
No, that was a couple of months ago. We weren't arguing.
I don't
about
think Kevin Durant. No. But chill. Jason Tatum was better than. No, Jason Tatum was better than Kevin Durant this year. So it couldn't have been about this year. It had to be about last year.
It was 100% that.
No, because Tatum was better this year.
Because I said that Jason Tatum.
I said Kevin Durant was better last season and better in the Olympics. That's what I said.
I said that Jason Tatum was the best small forward in the game, and you was like, "Wait a minute, oh nope,
He
that's
is.
not true."
He is.
Yeah, he also plays the four.
Okay, so he's true. So to your point, I think Kevin Durant can be really good on this Rockets team. They have an argument for the second best team in the Western Conference for sure.
I agree. That's where I stand. So.
Ron,
stand with that as well.
would they be better with J-Dub, Ron?
The Rockets.
Yeah, you put J-Dub on the roster.
Move Dylan Brooks off. Take real talk. Take Dylan Brooks off the roster. Replace him with J-Dub. Keep the rest of the crew, but take Dylan Brooks off and put J-Dub on it. Are they the number 2 seed in the Western Conference?
With J-Dub, yeah.
This year? So they still have Jalen Green?
Yes, they still got Jalen Green.
Yeah, they're the 2 seed, easily.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, they're closer to OKC. Now, you take Jalen Green off and Dylan Brooks off, and you put J-Dub instead of KD, they're worse than the KD version of the team, in my opinion.
I do think Kevin Durant's a better fit on this team because they're already an elite defense. So, like, when I'm saying that, like, if you're already an elite defense and you add Kevin Durant, you're going to be better. But if you're a team that's not elite on defense and your offense is so-so, I'd rather have J-Dub. Now he adds more to my defense, and he still helps us on offense.
I want Kevin
I
Durant.
mean, but you say that like Kevin Durant is not a plus.
That's not a knock on KD.
Mhm.
That's not a knock.
J-Dub is one of the 10 best
I mean,
defenders.
yeah,
in the
I
league.
understand.
It's
I
a
mean,
different level of value.
I thought he was the defensive player of the year, and I'd call him the most versatile wing in the league. I know. What he is.
It's a different level of value to KD. But I'd rather have KD. The only concern for me with KD is the injury stuff. But I think Houston are in a position where they can load manage KD to their heart's content. They have the defense, they have the rebounding, they have their formula to how they win regular season games. So they can just get KD through the regular season best as they can. Obviously, hoping for no freak injuries. There's nothing you can do about that. But if you can get KD through the regular season, what he provides in the playoffs is something that Houston are drastically missing. So we'll see.
Real talk. Let me ask you. I want to give you a few teams, and you tell me who you would rather have on these teams. First, we're going to start with the team who you swear that you love, but you don't really love them like that. The Los Angeles Lakers.
I mean, obviously, JDUB, because we already have LeBron.
Oh, obviously? Oh, it's obvious?
I mean, but because we have LeBron and Luka. I mean, yeah. That makes sense.
Obvious?
And we're missing, like, POA and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, JDUB. That makes sense.
Mhm.
All right. The Celtics, in light of Jason Tatum not being there, who would you rather have?
Well, Chill or me?
Kevin Durant.
Yeah, you get KD, the best spacing in the NBA.
Yeah, Kevin Durant. Yeah.
KD. All right.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Cavaliers. I think this one's kind of interesting.
It is. I'm still going with KD though, but
Okay.
I do see that one. I can see how you go JDUB with that.
All right. Swiper, stay out of this. The Denver Nuggets.
KD is perfect for them.
Every team you said, I'm taking KD.
With Joker, holy
KD.
shit. He's fantastic.
But again, because Aaron Gordon is the 4, right? Aaron Gordon's the 4 over there, and then they need some more defense. Again, I could see why you would say JDUB for them. I actually might go JDUB for the Nuggets. I'm not gonna lie. I can see that.
That doesn't negate that KD would be fantastic running with Joker, because he would be.
Oh, absolutely. The offense would be crazy if KD was okay. I don't know how much you need great defense. It
would be more crisp, I can tell you
Yeah,
that.
you're asking,
the defense would be significantly better, mind you.
And it would, and the offense would be a
AD
lot
on that
sharper.
team makes that defense a lot better, and he makes them the best offense we've ever seen. So
Better than the 2016 Warriors? Better than the 2017 Warriors?
Maybe my favorite player will play with an all-time great player like LeBron and the rest of the
2017
cats one
Warriors
day.
kind of don't count, but yeah.
LeBron's playing with his 6 all-time great players.
Oh,
It's
we don't
crazy.
want to hear you opining about. Just shut up and enjoy Jamal Murray.
Hey, real talk. You got Luka, and you said they were going to the title. So I mean, you got out in the first round. So KD on that roster, you think they?
I didn't say we were going to the title this year.
Oh, that's crazy.
Okay.
I mean, I definitely remember you clapping and twerking on the timeline when you got Luka. Next team round.
Well,
Why
hold on,
would
no,
you-
Swiper.
why
Since
would
we're
you?
here, who would you rather take for just a season?
I mean, Kevin, he would be the best rim protector on the team outside of Peyton Watson. Like they wouldn't have any flaws at that point anymore. I mean, I don't know how you would beat that team. That over the top shot making, the pick and roll. I mean, just the backdoor cuts. I mean, him and Aaron Gordon alone would be, I mean, the best thing you've ever seen. The vertical spacing would be incredible.
All right, I got 2 more teams. They both in the Western Conference. The first is the Timberwolves.
KD for sure. KD.
All right, and lastly, the Dallas Mavericks.
KD.
All right.
KD on this Mavericks team would have been sweet too.
Yeah, I actually really thought that was the move until Kyrie got hurt. I was thinking that was the move for KD.
All right, y'all. Well, we got some super chats. Salute to everybody that's in here. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and become a member. You guys already know the drill. But salute to everybody that's in here once again. Appreciate y'all for joining up. Realist123 is going to kick it off for us. He said KD with that defense and size around him is going to be scary.
The more length and girth around you, is the better for KD because he needs it.
Relax,
Especially for somebody
Ron. You know what he means.
Especially for somebody
Does he
that
know what
has
he
injury
means?
concerns,
Yes.
don't have to worry about that anymore. That's a big deal.
Well phrased, Swiper. Well phrased. Masenko said
That screen Bradley set on McConnell on the baseline towards out of bounds was one of the dumbest things. Set him right up for OKC's trapping. Congrats, OKC.
Seen James
Young
Wiseman
guards,
do
if you're any young hoopers in the league, if you handle the ball, you never ever want to be in the corner where that the half court line meets out of bounds, because it's 3 defenders. You can't go backwards. You can't go to your right side or your left side, depending on where the baseline is, and the defender in front of you. And then trying to set a pick there is even crazier.
They call it the
Stay out. Just stay out the corners, especially if you're a little guard, especially if you're a small guard. Stay away from those corners.
MP13 said, I want strict techs for exaggerated contact and keep it at 2 techs, so 2 flops and you are ejected. I'm tired of people losing their balance on their own, then throwing themselves on the floor.
Lou Dort.
Lou Dort is disgraceful with that.
They gave him that flop, and I literally could not believe my eyes when that happened. I couldn't believe my eyes. They gave him that in the Game 7 NBA Finals, and the game was imbalanced. Could not believe my eyes that they gave him that.
Imagine being that specimen, that physical specimen, and playing basketball like that. Like that's where's your pride? You know what I'm saying? Where's your dignity? None.
Global became a YouTube member. Shout out to Global. Stunner 999 became a YouTube member as well. Shout out to Stunner. Steve Go Shoot became a YouTube member. Shout out to Steve. Everybody out there, go shoot. LaFlame sent through a members chat and said, start bench cut. Fraudulent finals runs. Let's do it, fellas. 2020, 2024, 2025. Lakers.
Well, 24 was the worst in terms of fraudulent. 25 injuries, 20 was bubble. I mean, probably 20 the bubble would be the hardest one out of those 3.
What is your thing with last year's Celtics?
Well, no, it's not a thing. Objectively, like that was one of the easier runs because every team was missing a star, or like in the Eastern Conference run. That's why I put that up there. That's the only reason. Every single team they played was missing their star. So that's all I'm saying. Like it's just ranking all 3 of those. That would be the situation.
This is also now what the second year in a row where pretty much from start to finish the best team in the league won the chip, because that's what the Celtics.
Third year in a row. Well, this is the 3rd year in a row. 3rd year in a row. Compared to Denver was like runaway, like depending on how you want to say the best team, but the playoffs end of the year. And then even in 2022, the Warriors were not. The Bucks were 21. The Lakers were in 20.
Lakers were pretty much
Them were the Bucks.
The Bucks were better than the Lakers in the regular season.
Yeah, all I know is John Morant had it figured out.
It's funny because the Lakers were actually better the next season in the regular season than the Bucks were.
Yeah, and then we got
yeah, so it's weird.
Solomon Hill.
Yeah, but
how much better were the Bucks than the Lakers that year?
They were an all-time regular season team. All time. That's how they were performing anyway. It really wasn't.
Yeah, if you're saying like chill, if you're saying like regular season performance, they kind of were in a class of their own. But like personnel for personnel, if they were to play a series, I would have been picking the Lakers for sure.
Yeah, I think the Lakers were less flawed in a playoff setting. But when you say best team wire to wire, I assume it count performance. The Bucks were performing.
I'm just thinking about COVID shutting the season down. I mean, that team was on their way to winning 60+ games that year.
The Bucks were on track for damn near 70.
Something like that. So like 60. I know they were on track to win 60+ games that year. 64 to 66, if I remember correctly.
What were they something like dumb, like 40 and 13 or something crazier than that?
The Lakers?
No, the Bucks that year.
The Bucks definitely weren't. They was better than 40 and 13. I know that. Let me look.
Maybe 40 and 8. Something dumb.
Drinkman Water said 52 and 8, which sounds about right. So prior to the bubble, damn, they lost 3 straight games in March, right before the season shut down. But before that, so 62 games, they had lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's confirmed too.
7, 8, 9. Yeah, we knew. They lost 9 of their first 62 games. So what's that? 53-9, 52-8, however you want to slice it. They were amazing.
Yeah, I just know my GOAT Giannis, he didn't want to get a fake bubble ring, so he waited to the next year.
He got a faker ring the next year. Like,
Yeah,
I don't. What are you saying?
With no fans.
If we're ranking fake, I'm saying if we're ranking fake, then the
Change
21
this
one would be
narrative,
worse
man.
than
It's
21.
hard as to win an NBA championship.
No, I agree. But
you get a ring and be
Yeah.
a 50-win team. How about you do that?
well,
to win the NBA
I'm agree.
championship.
Look, no, I'm saying that Giannis literally like the only reason they won is
No,
because
I
Kyrie
just
and Harden
changed the
went down.
subject. You get a ring and be the 50-win team.
So what's
I mean,
what's the realest ring of the decade, Swapper? So
For
2020
me or for the narrative? Which one?
no
For
for
you.
you. I'm asking
For you
you.
Well,
specifically.
they're all real. I don't
From
actually believe
2019
this.
from
I'm answering
2020
the question.
from
No, stop.
September
No,
20
I'm gonna no troll. I
From
answered the
September
question
20.
of the ranking. Hold on. I answered the question of the rankings. They're all real. None of them are fake. It's just who had the easier run. You can go through. That's very easy. You
So
can go
who had
through
the easiest run from 2020 to 2025?
the Celtics? Yeah, the Celtics.
And then
for
who
sure.
had
Who had the hardest?
Who had the most difficult?
Teams. See, 2020 Lakers would have been there. They went 5-1, 5-1, 5 or 4-1, 4-1, 4-1. But then they played the Heat without Bam in the finals. And then you would have had the Thunder this year. The Warriors, definitely not that one. It would probably be the Thunder or the Lakers. And I'd probably lean Lakers. It could be the Thunder this year, depending. But they all got injury boosts, though, to be fair.
In the 2020s?
Yeah, they all got injury boosts. The 21 had major injury boosts. 22 major injury boosts. 23, the Nuggets, remember, Carl came back the last month of the year. Ayton got hurt. Not hurt. He got hurt, but CP3 got hurt in game 2. The Lakers were healthy. And then Jimmy Butler got turned his ankle in round 2. 24, no Jimmy, no Jarrett, no Mitchell, no Hali, and then Luka was hurt. And then this year, obviously, Aaron Gordon, Porter, and then John Morant gets hurt, and then in the finals, obviously Hali. So it's really
trying to think what disqualifies like the Warriors in 22, because I know they probably have the hardest finals opponent.
Finals, yes, but remember they played the Nuggets with no Porter, no Murray, and then they played the Grizzlies. John Morant got hurt after game 3.
Jaga did get hurt,
yeah, and then they played the Mavericks that year, and Steph wasn't even great in that series. They just dog walked the Mavericks. Andrew Wiggins had a really good series, and then they probably played the hardest, like relative to the team finals performance. But then a lot of people thought that the Celtics were going to win that title, so they kind of like, you know.
All right, we got another members chat from your guy Bossman. Bossman said Hali's injury prevented a historic Game 7. Good game to OKC.
Yeah.
Stunner 999 said, "What's good, fellas? KD is a Rocket. Finally, a real team."
Finally, they were the favorites in 23. When never mind.
I thought he was saying Houston. I don't know.
Yeah, he's talking about Houston. He's not talking about.
I know, but
KD.
he's been on real teams for the whole tenure, has he not?
I think
they
he's
were all
talking about
favorites.
KD finally being on a real team.
Oh, I thought he was talking about Houston being finally a real team, but maybe it is talking about KD.
I that's what I thought.
Yeah, I might have interpreted it wrong. I'm not stunning.
Yes, salute to KD for finally getting to a good situation.
Facts.
So it's only been 18 years. Good job, buddy. DM the Dream said Pacers' style of play wore their own players down.
Okay.
Well, they have 3 Achilles injuries, but I don't think that was the reason why.
Well, one was in game 1. I don't know.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe.
UNB said, "Who/what should OKC get/do to fix their offense?"
They do need more. I feel like they do need more action off the ball. Like I saw Shea watching a lot of times when he didn't have the ball in his hands, and that's not difficult to guard. Even though he's really good, that's not difficult to guard. And I feel like if they have more ball movement and more action off the ball, I think to get him easier baskets, I think that he would have had a more efficient game. So I think that's one aspect of their offense.
If they got Trey Murphy, I'd be pissed. I'm not gonna
The
lie.
same wings I suggested for Houston, I'm gonna suggest for OKC.
I just think it's bugged out, man. That like you just said that, Swiper. Like I think it's bugged out that these me and Ox just had this conversation that you dudes think that these teams just gonna give y'all their best players.
For Well, they're on the market.
I mean, there are
and
reports just saying that New Orleans is
and we give you like 3 of those picks that we don't own, and they give you Dort and whatever. Yeah, I mean that's a good deal. They gave up Dyson Daniels for nothing. I mean, respect to DeJounte. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but like,
so they didn't.
They just threw him in. They threw him in. But I'm saying it was a throw in though. Like they
Right.
threw him in as if like, oh, just take him. If the Trey Murphy's on the table, then I'm trading for Trey Murphy. Yeah, 1,000%. I want Trey Murphy. I want Trey Murphy when I want Cam Johnson.
Is Trey Murphy better than Cam?
Yes.
Yeah. Trey Murphy would be my first choice. Cam Johnson would be my second choice.
Wait. Where's DeJounte?
Trey Murphy got games.
DeJounte is probably rehabbing somewhere.
Still in New Orleans.
Yeah, he in New Orleans still.
Okay, I thought you were saying he got moved.
DeJounte should be healthy at the start of the season.
Yeah, he will be.
Hopefully, yeah.
He tore that Achilles like the first week of the season or the first month of the
No,
season.
in like December, right?
Was it that late?
Yeah, because he broke his hands or something.
Oh,
Came back and then tore his Achilles.
That's right. Yeah.
Have you seen him?
I'm pretty sure.
He'll probably be good at the start.
Remember, I put up the poll if Trey Murphy
31 games. Yes.
Is there a world?
It was January. It was right before February, so January 31st.
Oh yeah. He's gonna be out until 2026.
Yeah,
probably.
so he missed almost half the season.
Is there a world where Trey Murphy's the third best shooting guard in the league at some point?
I think he's more at 3 or 4 though. I don't think.
I'm saying, but like depending on the situation, I think he can play the 2 though. Like he has like actual like ball handling, playmaking chops.
He can. He's so big and so versatile as a defender. You could slot him down to the.
Yeah,
I mean, he can play the 2 or the 4. He's very
6'9" good. That's interesting.
New T-Mac?
Nah, he can be. I mean, I don't know. He's really good. Wherever he ranks, he's really good.
I like Trey Murphy a lot.
I think it is a world swipe, but he would have to improve tremendously. But
tremendously is crazy. There's not a lot of 2 guards in the league. Respect.
Yeah, but
Donovan Mitchell. I got to jump Booker. You know what I mean? I got to jump maybe Mitchell. Ant's cool. You know what I mean? I got you. I can do it.
Ant's cool.
Jalen Green revenge tour next season. So go facts.
You're not even on Jalen. Are you still on Jalen Green prop?
Who knows? I don't
know.
Jay
Green is crazy though. But go ahead.
Jay sent through a super chat and said, "Would you take a chance on Malcolm Brogdon, healthy to be the Pacers' point guard temporarily until Hali returns?"
Is Malcolm Brogdon better than TJ McConnell?
No, not at this point.
No.
Bro, I'm telling you, go ahead and type it in right now, Chill. I want you to put this in my bag. I want you to write it like a sticky note. Actually, Ron, you're the host, so you write it down like Ernie Johnson. Andrew Nembhard. I'm saying at least borderline all-star next season. At least borderline.
Playing at an all-star level.
And Mars, before you come off and say, well, we're missing all these players, I am going to add the context. We are missing a lot of players. Andrew Nembhard, I'm saying, if I said he's at like 18-3, 18-4-6 next year, maybe more, maybe better than that. Good efficiency, really good defense. There's a chance he makes the All-Star game next year if they're like on pace to.
Yeah, they'd have to be winning a lot of games, but
I think he's an all-league defender next year. I do.
I can see that.
With the larger offensive burden, I would probably assume his defense is worse next year, but who knows?
Yeah, Swiper, along those lines, the guy who I got really getting off next year and taking that step forward is Benedict Mathurin.
Well, he ain't gonna be on the team. I agree. So he's gonna be somewhere else.
Why would he not be on the team?
Right?
Yep.
In Denver.
Why would he be in Denver?
Just like Chris
I've been asking for this by the way, since his rookie year, so it's gonna happen.
One
of them got to hit one day. Hey, real talk. I've been throwing my Luka prayers out there. One of them got to land.
You be saying everybody gonna be on Denver.
One of them got to land one day.
You pray for Dario Saric? I seen him accept that player option. I'm just asking.
Shots down. Hey, would you rather? Never mind. No, I get. All right, bro. Dario, bro.
Culture Bandit said, "How you feel about Bill Ladden holding the Suns hostage? 3 shooting guards is demonic work."
Bill doing what he's entitled to do.
The same way I feel about teams cutting players. That's how I feel about it. So,
I saw a report that
you don't want me here, pay me, and you're not shipping me to Portland. No, I'm not moving my family to Portland. No,
Mars, Phoenix is beautiful. You don't just
Portland.
You don't just leave Phoenix. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you can stay. I'm kicking it. I'm in the desert. I'm chilling in Scottsdale. I'm here. You know what I'm saying? You want to get rid of me? Cut me.
People mad at Bradley Beal for him using the contract that he got given.
Exactly.
Be mad at someone else. Be mad at who gave him the contract. I don't
How
know why
about
you mad at him.
Washington? How about them?
Be
They
mad
were
at the
one-
person who traded for the contract. Like,
Yeah.
God damn. You mad at him because his contract says he can decide where he gets to go.
His family like Phoenix. We
Which,
locked
by the
in.
way, they didn't
That's
think
what he
twice
said.
about it, Mars. So we clear. They didn't think twice about trading for Bradley Beal. It's like, yes, do it.
Let me tell you how long. Let me tell you how long I've been following. I've been following Bradley Beal's family since like the bubble.
Oh, stalker, what the hell?
But you just
Well, no,
like,
because
follow him around
they
the
do
nation.
like Instagram content and all that kind of stuff. I've known about the Beal family for years before.
Mhm.
I'm talking about when they were in Washington, they sucked.
Like what they do like skits and stuff.
Nah,
like
his
that?
come on. She just
He's got
does
two
like
younger- he's got two older
kid
brothers.
lifestyle stuff, like all kind of
He
stuff.
got
Like
two
so
Oh,
I've
like
been-
day in the life type stuff. That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. Like so I've been watching them for years, and so like I already knew who they were, and so that's why when they went to the Suns and stuff, I'm like, oh cool, they family, like he's a real down to earth like
Yeah.
Mhm.
person. So for him, he's like, my family's happy here. Oh, we staying. I'm making $50 million a year too. What you gonna do about it?
Sir.
On top,
Ain't my
on
fault.
top of that, let's not forget Brad Bill's still a baller and KD's out his way. So we might get some good.
Yeah, now we can get the real Bradley Bill.
We'll get the
Mhm.
real B Rad. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Check out Brad.
Hey, Jalen Green, you got a mentor in you now? It's only up from here.
Jalen
KD
King.
go that out his way.
Jalen King said, we just traded one of the most inefficient and inconsistent scorers in the NBA
Ooh, boy.
for one of the most efficient and consistent scorers of all time.
Pew-wee.
That is what they did. Yeah,
Chill.
they did do that.
You ever
Stinky.
you ever,
Is this
work,
stinky?
you ever worked in the fields before in your life?
Stinky.
You walk behind the horse when you try to clean up?
Stinky. Stinky. Stinky.
Game the Great
Jalen Green.
said, Morris, how do you feel about the trade? As the KD guy, I think this is his best team since Golden State, minus the one injury-ridden season in Brooklyn.
Yeah, the 21 Nets are better, but yeah, I think that's his best team since then. I think it's better than his Phoenix teams. So what's that? 20, he got there in 23. So 23, 24, and then obviously this year. So it's the best team he's had in the last 3 years, I think. Good trade for Houston. Second best team in the West, in my opinion. Still still flaws that need to be addressed in terms of spacing and decision makers, but they're in a better spot than they were 2 days ago.
Boy, Jalen Green, man. I thought they were gonna get off him for nothing, and then you get KD for him. I mean, that's a heist.
It's a good deal.
Irregular said, I would prefer the NBA to be more like football. Make it like 20 games each season or make it like 20 games each game will feel important.
What,
That's a Mars
29
question.
game season, just play each game once.
Mars, who would be the MVP of the league in a 20 game sample? If you only had 20 games to play basketball.
I think 20 games is stupid, but how spread out are the games? What, once a week?
Just do 29 games, more. You play
Yeah,
every
that's what I'm
2
saying. 29 games would make sense.
Just do that.
Joel.
Probably. I was gonna say Embiid.
Oh my God. You give Joel 29 games? Yo, 38, 14.
Just play once a week. That's crazy.
Oh, what?
Yeah, Joel would kill that league.
Nah, Luka. Somebody said Luka. Luka would be so out of shape. Like,
But wait, do y'all know how much older the league would be? Like, so there's retired players that would not have retired because you know what I'm
Like
saying.
Jamal Crawford.
Well,
Jamal Crawford
Vince would still be in the league right now.
Yeah, Jamal Crawford
Vince
still
would
be
probably
playing.
be like
James will play till 60. Let's be clear about that right now. James won't
Yeah.
be. He'll be playing until he's 60.
we might still have Joe Johnson and Carmelo in the league. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Alan L said, mad at TJ because he lost his backup PG is nasty work. He needed help, man. That's disgusting.
Yes.
He lost his backup PG.
Allen, keep
Alan L is
cooking.
disgusting.
Keep cooking.
You're
Nah,
disgusting
because
for that,
no,
Alan.
Ron, because Allen had to do what I had to do. Okay. His eyes were opened and he witnessed and he's seen the greatness of TJ McConnell.
Hey,
Since y'all kept pushing back and just kept disrespecting and belittling TJ McConnell, Allen had to take it a step further than he wanted to open up your eyes to the true greatness of TJ McConnell. So I'm not mad at Allen. Sometimes you got to go you got to go overboard when the haters keep their eyes shut, and then when their eyes open, they do this. Like I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. That's.
And man, Felix, when you ain't glazing, you funny, Felix, man. You got some jokes, bro. Keep doing it, bro. Keep going. Next super chat.
And also, Alan, I'm glad that you guys lost your second option. Well, I'm not glad that you guys lost your second option, but I'm glad that now people can really see who the first option really has been in Boston. So, salute to the Celtics.
Damn, Ron.
Another championship run.
About that? That's crazy.
Kareem NYK 2001 said Mars was the same dude that said KD wasn't collapsing the defense against the Wolves.
That has nothing to do with KD as a scorer. Nothing.
He wasn't collapsing the defense as a scorer.
Okay.
Salute to Kareem and salute to KD. Field Boy 7 said the NFL is so much better at marketing the product than the NBA.
Man, $100 super chat in this late game of the hour, in the 12th hour, man. That's Archers. You got to be the MVP of the chat, man.
Home run in the ninth inning.
He's cooking right now.
Arch said Kawhi is the GOAT in 29 games, and it's raining Rockets in the Gulf. Bunker Arch coming soon.
Imagine Leonard only having to play once a week for a month. That's it. You got to play once a week.
Hey, wait, chill. Hold on. Let me ask this. If KD plays 65 plus games next year and they're the 2 seed again Mars, which they definitely could be, he's on 27, 5.
He's in MVP talk.
I think Kevin Durant has a chance to be a sneaky MVP candidate.
He's in
I'm
MVP
probably
talk.
more than likely third. Like, he's probably not making 2.
He's in MVP talk.
He'll be in the conversation, I guess.
Right.
He won't be particularly close to winning it.
The top 3 for MVP next year are going to be Shea, Jokic, and Luka Doncic.
Look at him.
Giannis still.
You still put Luka in them talks?
Yeah, Giannis is going to have
incredible mark.
Giannis is going to have a monster season.
We got a 30-12.
Yeah, but he's been
we don't need to talk
monster
about
seasons, and for whatever reason, we
yeah,
don't.
But
care.
now without Dame, if Giannis,
he has a narrative
if
now.
The Bucks are able to be a 3 seed, Giannis without Dame, Giannis is gonna average.
That's gonna be the
30
narrative.
points per game next
We got a
let's see what the Spurs do
running around here.
And the Bucks
Let's
could
see-
be
let's see- let's see-
Wemby's a sneaky candidate. man.
Let's see about the Spurs, but let's not only see about the Spurs.
A shooting guard winning
Let's
MVP.
let's wait for Dallas. Wait for Dallas. See about Anthony Davis.
PJ Washington getting MVP top 2.
Yeah, if I had to guess,
Anthony
the
Davis and
top
Victor Wembanyama,
6.
wait on
If I had to guess, the top 6 will be some assortment of Jokic, Giannis, Shea, Luka, Wemby, and then if Embiid's healthy. But that's
Brunson
a big
is going to be in that conversation too.
Those guys are never going to be MVP candidates, but they can be in the next group.
All right, y'all. The Black Ronin said Neesmith struggling isn't just Hali. It is that he picks up so many fouls. They have taken him out, or they have to take him out so he can never get into his rhythm.
He do be fouling like crazy.
Right.
Merry Christmas.
He fouled out of 3 out of 4. He fouled out of 3 games. In 4 to 7 games, he had 5 fouls or more. That's ridiculous.
Little guard Jaren Jackson. And just fouling like crazy.
Bullshitting, Mars. Yes. That's exactly who he is.
The Black Ronin also said at the time of the injury, Hali had 9 points and SGA had 6 points and 2 assists. It was about to be a 2016 Game 7 level game.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, what? Who was Draymond's? Shea?
Who was Draymond? Pascal? No.
Draymond was the best player on the court in that game, by the way. I just want you guys to know that.
Shout out Dre.
You saying
Game
for both
to
teams?
Draymond was the best player on the court.
If they would have won a championship that year, Draymond would have won NBA Finals MVP.
What do you?
Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
He
missed the game. I doubt it. He missed the game. They probably still
got busy. And Jabbar missed the game too, and he should have won the Finals MVP.
Yeah, and he didn't win it. So maybe would have gone to Steph. Maybe. I don't
Still
know.
haven't seen like 3 better scoring performances than that Kyrie Game 5. That is
What was that? He was like 17 for 24 or something. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
But no, he's just not that good, man.
Deem the Dream 91 said players and coaches have to take care of their players.
Control the pace, treating basketball like it's a track meet endangers players. We are flying close to the sun.
There is something to be said about playing at that speeds with all of that movement, because the Pacers move like that player movement more than like anyone, maybe like the sides of the Warriors. And the Warriors, a lot of their player movement is carried by Steph. The Pacers, everyone is moving. Doing that for 82 games, then with playoff intensity, doing that on a finals run, it's a lot of wear and tear on the body.
And don't y'all think though, like if not the players, like at least ownership should be able to like sit you down if they get a report from the medical staff that's just not safe for you to play?
I mean, I think so. Apparently, it's wishful thinking for me to think that the people employing you can tell you to not show up to work. Apparently, I'm crazy for saying that they should be able to do that.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but the people employing you are going to employ you like they want you to work. They don't want to be
unless you work.
And that comes back to my bigger problem. If that's the case, if the Pacers were also pushing for Haliburton to play, then I think that's incompetence.
Right. Negligence. And that's what I'm saying. I think the medical staff should be able to.
Thing I was saying, and I've been consistent on this. I said it about Embiid last year. I said about Steph in the playoffs this year. I said about Aaron Gordon going into that game 7. I've been very consistent on this. And everyone keeps responding to me with, these guys aren't going to want to miss a game 7. To Chill's point, yes, I understand the players want to play. If it was me, I'd probably want to play. That doesn't make the decision any less stupid. Like, everyone telling me, this guy, he's going to want to play. I'm aware of that. What people want and what's best for them are two different things. And at some point, you have to start doing what's best for people instead of just giving them what they want. But, whatever.
Trayvon Ray.
That opens a whole nother can of worms, especially when not maybe like the Tyrese Haliburton part, because that's one specific game. But like you brought up like Joel Embiid, like what do I still have to pay Joel Embiid a super max for me to then only play him 50 games maybe in a regular season to hope that he then is available for the playoffs? Same thing with like Kawhi Leonard. Like those are hard decisions to make because they're taking up so much of your cap.
Yep. That's why you don't give guys like Joel Embiid that type of money. Like it's just about making good decisions. But once you've done that, you can't be like, well, you can, but I think it's incompetence again. To be like, I'm giving you max money, so now you need to go out there and play hurt. Like, I'm sorry, I think that's stupid. But if you're that worried about Embiid being hurt or Kawhi being hurt, then don't give them a max contract.
I agree with you on that, actually.
100% agree with you on that. 100%.
Trayvon Ray said, does the ref talk not get corny to y'all? The general y'all, not y'all specifically. 2 teams playing super physical, and I'm supposed to be upset at OKC because of the clips that social media chose to post.
It is corny. I mean, we get it every year too. Every year we something about the officiate. Every year,
every ring doesn't count. Every single one. None of the rings count.
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with some of the mixed styles. I have a problem with flopping and stuff like that. It's not so much the refs as it is the players. Like I said, when TJ McConnell did that to show the ref he's grabbing me, that's that turnover. After that, that's on TJ. That's not on the ref. You need to play basketball. Your job isn't out here to be like, hey ref, he's holding me. Your job is to either score the basketball or get the ball to a teammate to score the basketball. You got to play ball. So it's stuff like that gets in the way of the game when you're worried about the outside stuff.
I mean, I'm not one to say like, oh, the ring doesn't count or whatever.
That's crazy.
Illegitimate because they get to play physical. But I do think it's fair to acknowledge that one team, or there are certain teams that do, they get away with more than some others. Just watching the game.
Huncho, aka Huncho, sent through a super chat and said, Mars and Ox, what do you guys think of a Fred VanVleet trade that would bring in Drew or Derek White, then sign either Dennis Schroeder or Quentin Grimes?
I don't like it.
I'm not the biggest fan. I like Grimes. I would go after Grimes if I could. No. I think Fred VanVleet's there to stay. I think they need Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, I like.
He's
Fred
the only
too.
Point guard on the roster for real. I don't.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
That's my point. Real talk.
No, he isn't.
If you're gonna come off of him, I mean, cannot play point. But chill. If you're gonna
A men handle is not point guard ready yet. It's not.
If you're gonna come up with Fred VanVleet, though, I think you need to be trying to go get a better point guard. Like,
Yeah, that's what
shoot for Darius Garland or something. You know what I'm saying? Go get a point guard. Don't get.
They want someone who can play defense, though. So no disrespect to Darius Garland, but so it's about fit. There's a reason Fred VanVleet plays so many minutes, even when he's shooting like a terrorist, because he's the only one who can do point guard things consistently. The same things that everyone thought Tyus Jones was going to bring to Phoenix is actually what Fred VanVleet brings to Houston. And they need him. They need him out there. You can see the difference when he's not out there. The pace goes up, but the turnovers fly up. They skyrocket. And that's because Fred VanVleet is, quite frankly, the only one who can consistently make decisions with the ball in his hands. I really like Amen Thompson, but I think most signs are pointing to him being a wing, not a point guard. But who knows? He's only 22, so you got time.
Yeah, chill. I'm not
Josh?
against the idea in like
No.
maybe in a few years.
Defense,
I'm not
we need
completely
defense.
against it, but
All right,
next season, knowing where a men's handle is right now, he's not gonna even in a summertime, his handle isn't about to improve enough for him to be like main point guard duties for long.
Not just handle. Real talk. What about the decision making part about it?
He's a long way away from being a point guard.
You know what I'm
Y'all are
saying?
being so disrespectful right now.
I think
What,
the
to
man
who,
is a
Reed
good
Shepherd?
basketball player.
Yes.
See, I knew where Ron was going. I knew where.
Yes.
But Ron, is
I
Reed
told
ready?
you,
Is ready right now?
Reed is the one they're trying to turn into a point. Not turn into a point. They're trying to prepare him to be the point guard, not a man, in my opinion. But Reed isn't. I don't think he's ready yet physically or just in terms of consistent aggressiveness and decision making. But that's the one who they want to take the reins from Fred VanVleet. And
Ron, even more than that, Ron, I don't know if Reed's ready yet. And I don't know how much time Kevin Durant has, so I can't use years of Kevin Durant preparing Reed Shepherd.
I agree.
But you're preparing Amen Thompson and you're preparing Jabari Smith.
I don't want them.
No, Amen is
They're win
prepared.
now players.
Yeah,
Amen
they're
is prepared.
better than him right
Is
now.
Jabari?
Right?
Is Tori?
Depends what you're asking.
Is Shane Goon a win now player?
Ron, we're talking about point guard.
I have my issues with Şengün, but we'll see.
Ron, I don't think this team is ready anyway. I think they need to make another move. Once they make another move, I think they'll be okay. I think then it's like, okay, now they're championship contenders. As presently constructed, I don't think this team is a championship contender yet. But I think they can be. They have all the pieces. They have Kevin Durant. They got a great defense. But I don't think the answer is giving Reed Shepherd or Amen Thompson the point guard position right now and getting off of Fred VanVleet. I think you keep Fred VanVleet unless you can get a better point guard. And Reed Shepherd and Amen Thompson are not better point guards than Fred VanVleet.
I'm gonna just say this, and then we can move on. Don't be surprised if Fred VanVleet ain't there come the trade deadline.
If Reed is
somebody
ready by
else.
then,
Yeah,
Reed is ready by then.
along those lines.
But
If
Fred's
Reed
going to sign his
starts, Fred's
extension
gone.
soon. Fred's going to sign his extension soon. We'll see how much it is, but Fred's going to sign his extension soon.
Well, Fred VanVleet kicks. Kevin Durant kicks somebody ass if they start Reed
Skinny
Shepherd
boy
as a
ain't
point
kicking
guard.
nothing.
All right.
Isaiah Evans said, Ron, nasty take. 3-second alone changed movement a lot.
When was that? 03? The defense of 3 seconds?
Well, of course, you can't just stand in the paint.
I gotta bounce, Ron. I'll see y'all dudes tomorrow.
All right,
All
All right, chill.
Football Breakdown said Swiper is Glazer of the Year, Yapper of the Year, Stank Breath of the Year, Goofy of the Year, and Hater of the Year. He averages the most words per episode.
Damn.
That's
I
Football
don't know what's
breakdown.
wrong.
I haven't seen him in a long time.
He's a notorious hater. I don't know what's wrong with averaging the most words per episode. People complain at me for averaging the least. So, well, you just want mids? Like, I don't get it.
Where you at, Will? Said Ox. Stop acting confused. Celtics up there because we got Brad Stevens. Boy, in Brad we trust. Hashtag different there.
I do believe in Brad
Yeah.
Stevens. If I was the Celtics, I would believe in him too. For real, he's been great since he moved to the front office.
Shout out,
Yo,
Brad.
maybe Brad Stevens can throw that number 0 jersey on, lace up his sneaks, and get busy.
What does Stephen A. Smith need to be held accountable for?
I think he
Playing
said something
solitaire.
to the effect that Hali's injury wasn't all the way real or something like that. I don't know. Like not when he tore his Achilles, but like prior to.
You don't got shit to do with Stephen A. Smith. He's just saying words to get paid.
I don't
Leave him alone.
Whatever.
Senior citizen support said, I lost 2 months of rent money last night. I need an inspirational speech.
Nice avatar.
Tough.
That avatar is crazy.
Now
That
you
look
gotta
like
bet
that
another
look like one of them
2 months
cartoons. Y'all seen that show F is for Family? Like one of them type of cartoons? Look like they turned it into
Hey, for real, he should have did this one for real instead of that.
Hey, if they had a chill character in that show, it would be hilarious, bro.
All right, y'all. We got another super chat from Khalil 2005. Khalil said KD's last chance at redemption and OKC stands in his way. Couldn't write a better storyline than that.
There's a real world in which Houston have to go through Golden State and OKC to get to the finals.
Let's see.
And then play Brooklyn in the finals?
Yeah, so I said real.
Phoenix in the first round. Jalen Green.
I said real world. There's a reason I only said Golden State and OKC. Phoenix is more likely than Brooklyn, though. I will say that.
MP13 said over and under, Suns winning more than 25 games next season. I know Book is in pain right now. He's got to get out of there. He's wasting his time.
I think if they get a big who's competent, I do like Book, Brooks, Ryan Dunn. I think you're either moving Jalen Green elsewhere or you're betting on him figuring it out. If Jalen Green figures it out and you get a big, I think you have the capability of being a playing team.
So, fellas, over and under. They start Bradley Beal, Jalen Green,
under.
Devin Booker,
under.
Dylan Brooks at the 4,
under.
Nick Richards at the 5, over and under.
That's disgusting.
Shout out to the Grizzlies for having the Suns' first round pick next year. That's all I'll say.
It's no way the Suns don't win 25.
The Suns have to. They ain't got a choice. Otherwise, the Grizzlies getting a top 5 pick.
Also, how do y'all know that Devin Booker isn't happy? I like how y'all just be assuming that these players. You don't know. You don't know that.
Most reports say Devin Booker wants to be in Phoenix for life. So
fine. He finna sign an extension that pays him $75 million a year.
They think every player has the same. They think every player has the same priorities as they would apparently.
What you can do with $75 million in Arizona?
Yeah, until they get offered that $75 million, all of a sudden the ring don't seem that important to them.
Hey, y'all don't want to know what I do in Arizona with $75. Well, I want $75 million. Boy, what?
Yo, $75 million, damn that ring. We don't need that. I can go buy a ring.
Yeah, I seen Gilbert Arena say you can get a ring for less than $10K. Go get that.
10K. Shit, my rings be costing like $300. Gonna do it. 10K.
A lot of players with rings broke.
Facts.
Yeah. 75 mil. What I need a ring for?
Tommy sent through a super chat and said, when are we getting the real PC football? Mars.
It existed for a while.
So basically what you're saying is if you want the real PC football, go back and watch it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, go back and watch the old PC football. Eddie Cano said, how does a 2-week league-wide midseason break or bye weeks for NBA teams sound to help with health and rest for players?
Is that not the All-Star break?
Basically. I'm not mad at bye weeks, though. I think actually bye weeks would be fire. Like, not a bye weeks. So you get one pre-All-Star break and one post-All-Star break.
I think we should just remove back-to-backs, but
yeah, I'm with that. No more back-to-backs.
No more locked doors. Ronald sent through a super chat and said, how bad is the Phoenix trade for KD all time? Like, in terms of all-time bad trades, they traded 9 first-round picks and Cam Johnson for 2 years of KD.
I'm Mikal Bridges. It didn't work out. Pretty bad.
It did. That's tough.
Yeah, it hasn't gone well. We'll say that, and it's gonna get worse.
You swung and you missed, but at least you swung. I like teams that swing. Go for it.
You swinging, yeah. Swinging.
Well, yeah. I mean, well,
Sure,
next
like
super
that.
chat. Next.
All right, Pastor.
I got a super chat from Christos.
Hey man, a couple of them ladies
Arasulis.
need me to lay hands on them. You know what I'm saying? I gotta.
Christos.
Hey, Ron, you
Arasulis.
remember the prayer panties preacher?
How could I forget? Hey, how could I? But Christos said, so when the Rockets get bounced in the second round, are we going to switch to he needs another second option? He just wanted one last big contract.
Well, no, I think there's very valid flaws on this roster that can lead to Houston losing in round 1 next year. One of them being spacing, like I said, the decision making, and then also the injury concerns. So I think there's very valid avenues for how they can still lose. I don't think anyone's saying Houston are now unbeatable or their floor is the conference finals. But I think it's possible that maybe Şengün isn't good enough offensively for this team. I also think it's possible maybe the lack of spacing can hold KD back in the playoffs, as we've seen happen in the past. And KD definitely isn't as good as he used to be. And we've seen that problem show 3 years ago. We've seen that problem show 9 years ago. So there's definitely concerns on this roster. Now, those concerns are going to turn into KD's a fraud if they ultimately don't win. But
for sure,
I've already accepted that's going to happen. It's just I'm not going to subscribe to it.
Maybe he need to get like JDUB.
Sure.
Okay, buddy. I do think this last playoff run, or this last season in general, actually, I was thoroughly impressed with Şengün in the playoffs. I'm not gonna lie. The steps that he's taken defensively. But if I was Şengün this summer, now that we do have KD, things I'm working on for sure are catching that little pocket pass out of like pick and roll situations and getting my little touch float shot back. That kind of disappeared on him a little bit, and then just playing out a short roll because I do feel like there'll probably be teams trying to trap KD a lot with the ball, and then him having to make decisions out of that.
A lot of the off-ball stuff is what I'd be working on if I'm Şengün, to piggyback off your point.
Mm-hmm.
DSG Piccolo said, first off, congrats to the Thunder. Now that the offseason is here, when do the nasty takes begin? Let me start it off with Tumani, Defensive Player of the Year next year, and Shaden, Most Improved. Dub show.
I'm really excited to watch Portland next year. Shaden's one of my guys. That's well documented. And I think Portland can be... It's weird because I think every team in the West outside of Utah can be competitive in terms of trying to make the play. I think that's kind of interesting.
All right, Sean, we have one final super chat from a pimp named Slickback. Slickback said, to the people saying, quote unquote, the NBA needs to cut the games down by 20%, make sure you tell the NBA players their salary will be down 20%. It's not happening. No way, no how.
Yeah, I don't think it will happen.
All right, y'all. Well, it has been real. The first day of the offseason. Salute to OKC for winning the NBA championship. Salute to the offseason. We will be back tomorrow to talk about the best narratives of the offseason. We'll see y'all soon.
Merry Christmas.
Peace, man.